welcome everybody to MogTalk. If you guys are unfamiliar with MogTalk, it's a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding and Chocobo Racing. But today, we're going to be talking about something that kind of surprised us a bit over at the JP FanFest, which was Solution 9, this new area, this new concept of what we're going to experience within this this whole expansion. But like, Solution 9 isn't even the name, right? It's just like, it's just what they were telling us. I don't know. What was Solution 9 again?
It looks like it might be the real name.
The name of the area?
The name of the city.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
There's like a sign.
There's a sign that says Solution 9.
Yeah. There's like two signs.
Yep. Okay. Well, there's been a lot of conversation that has come up over the week because of this introduction to this new zone, this new area. And so we're going to be talking about it a lot and anything that's kind of related about it. We didn't know exactly how we're going to do this show, but we'll get into that in a moment. First, I want all the guests to introduce themselves so you know who is here and kind of what they're all about. So, Moose, could you start us off and tell everybody who you are?
Sure, I can try.
Okay.
I'm Anonymoose, and I am known for nothing in particular, just a little bit of everything. Like, I lurked around the forums forever. I did some writing and interview work with Gamer Escape for a while. I helped edit the lore book that one time, two times now. And mostly I'm just old. I've just been here forever. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been on a lot of Mog Talks.
And I've been on a lot of Mog Talks.
Been on a lot of Mog Talks recently. Lots of lore conversations, and we're finally kicking it back up here in the new year. Fairly exciting way to do it, too, I think. Now, we have two first-time guests. I'd like them to introduce themselves as well. Crow, could you tell everybody who you are?
Hello, everyone. I am Croatoan, also known as the streamer behind the Eslam Collate, and I've been playing Final Fantasy for 8 years now. Wow. I don't like saying it out loud. It's very awkward, because then you're just like, you have to start thinking about the timeline. You're like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. But
years
yes,
ain't that bad, man.
That's the crazy part, right? It's like, I've been playing 8 years. Oh, yeah? What about 1.0? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't do 1.0. So there's still more time attached to this game. And it's awesome. But
Yeah.
been there, able to engage with the community, been able to go to FanFest. I was part of what you may have known as Etherflow Media back in the day. It was a magazine that covered a bunch of different topics, and they asked me to do lore writing for them. So I got to publish a couple articles. I got to do an interview there. And my claim to fame I like to throw out there all the time is when I was at FanFest in 2018. You may have seen me on stage or get called to put some fish lore, and I was the Spikes on Spikes guy. That was the person that suggested putting spikes on the vegetarian, and is now part of that in the game. And you can catch it if you want. You can put it on your wall if you want. Super awesome if you do, because we all appreciate vegetarian catchers here.
Okay.
But yeah, just been in and out, and kind of been able to talk lore with a bunch of awesome content creators, yourselves. Been able to go and visit a bunch of different programs and stuff like that, and just really enjoy the fandom and especially the lore behind the game. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it. Yeah, Moose said that you guys talk shit to each other every once in a while, so I figured you'd be good to bring on here.
Right.
All right, Em, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am EmUnArum, but everyone just calls me Em. If y'all hang out around MogTalk at all, you've probably seen me raiding here for the past 6 months. Sorry to put a number to it, Frosty.
It's all right.
I was in the top group we cleared a few months ago, but I am also a cosplayer who focuses on Final Fantasy cosplays, particularly Final Fantasy XIV, and if you want to get more specific, Ascians. I've got some favorites. And I guess most relevant today is I am a lore conspiracy theorist. And I love Final Fantasy IX. It's my favorite next to 14. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. The goal was to let you come on this show, vent out as many lore things as you can, and so it will reduce the amount that we're hearing in the middle of raid. And so this is a good raid leader decision.
During raid, unless you insist I talk about it, and then I'm the person who has to shut myself up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that being said, usually we come on here and we just kind of bullshit. That's what MogTalk is. We just talk and we just say whatever about the topics. We just try to go over it in like a natural conversation. We're going to do a little bit of that still. But Moose also has a whole bunch of slides and sort of a semi-presentation. So we have a mild format to how we're doing today's show. I'm going to go ahead and let Moose start us off with everything, I guess.
I can sure try.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I had no real clue what we were doing. So my first gut instinct was to pull one of the PowerPoints that I build and never let anybody see out. And we could go over kind of all of the stuff we know in case nobody's really followed the discussion on what's been revealed and what we know about it and the little things we've noticed. And then once we get to the end of the knowns, I'll kick it over to everybody and we'll just talk about whatever we think it might all mean.
Okay. You want me to pull up the first slide?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let me know when it's up. Let me know when we're ready to go.
Up.
And I will try to get through it as quick as possible. It's up.
Okay. Yep.
And how fast can you flick through it? If I'm just like slide 2, please, are you on it?
On it. Immediate.
Cool. Okay. So first slide, this is our new world map. The new world is included. We're going to start calling it Tyrol because we don't want to be like Eorzea-centric, self as normative, culturally inappropriate, right? We're going to call it Tyrol.
Mm-hmm.
So look at the North Tyrol there, and you can see Shock Tyrol, which I assume means North Tyrol. I can't prove that, but I'm assuming. And then let's go to slide 2, Enhance.
Got it.
Are we there? Okay. Okay. So this is our topic for today. This is solution 9. And it looks like we have maybe a tower and maybe some like purple bubbles. And it looks like it's surrounded by clouds and there's like almost some like mountains or rocks around it, almost like it like wasn't always there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe maybe there were always mountains there. Maybe it hit the ground. Maybe it came out of the ground.
Is that lavas?
Maybe it's all natural. Who knows? Maybe lava. Okay, slide 3.
Slide 3. Oh, and I'm sorry for everyone that's listening to this audio only. You're missing out a little bit, but Moose is doing pretty good with descriptions. So slide 3 is up.
I don't think there's anything that I will say that they couldn't look up if they wanted to see it. I didn't do anything too crazy. There's maybe like 1 or 2 things. But nothing. They'll be able to find it all. It's all press releases. So this third one may or may not be relevant. I want to start off with that. I just didn't want to leave it out. Fair. So this is Shaloani, one of the new areas, and Yoshi-P blocked out most of the sky as like a big secret. He said that he wanted you to see what the secret was for the first time in the game. So I'm not confident that Solution 9 is actually what's behind that at all. But if you look at it, I mean, it looks like there might be some purple. It looks like there might be some clouds. It looks like there might be a train. I just didn't want to leave it out. But there should be one more zone between those two, even if we don't go there. Because, like, there's Shaloani and then there's, like, Yasulani. Or I'm mispronouncing the first one. But whatever. So it may not be relevant at all.
Okay.
Slide 4, please.
Done.
All right, so this is Heritage Found, whose name is probably hella important. Notice what appears to be the tower in the background. That may be the tower in our map there. We got a train going through there. It's possibly the one to Yasulani and beyond. But yeah, you can see a big cultural divide in the construction here. That's probably going to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Slide 5, please.
Got it.
All right, here we see a fortress-like wall. Yoshi-P compared it to Garlemald, saying it was similar but not. Is that a hint? I don't know. I noticed that, like, in the lower left, there are some assets that look a little bit like the road at the start of Castra Meridianum. But
Ooh.
assets are made into other assets all the time, and I wouldn't take it too seriously either way. I
Right.
don't know.
Okay.
Slide 6, please.
Done.
Here's the other side of the wall, looking at the outside of it. And it looks like these are kind of the same constructions as we would see in Heritage Found. I noticed that the aetheryte there is not the type we see in Solution 9. It's the one we see in the other zones of kind of where we're going in the main area of the game. So it looks like this may be related to the main culture and not the Solution 9 culture. But notice also that the high-tech stuff seems to be integrated right into the low-tech stuff. This is not a rigid boundary. So we're going to have to try to figure out what that means.
Okay.
Slide 7, please.
Got it.
All right, this is from the dungeon artwork pack. And I believe it may be the other side of the wall that we just saw. Because there's some damage to the wall, and then we come around to this side, and it looks like this is the other side of it. The fire looks fresh. That may be a hint.
Mm-hmm.
And we see what look to be some kind of like shuttle transports or Tron cycles or something.
Well, I see some
Looks-
tracks, and yeah, that's a train that crashed into that wall, I guess. There's supposed to be a door that would open.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It looks sort of like train
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, maybe that's how we get
Cars.
in. Maybe that's how we get in. Maybe
Well,
we just decided we
ram a
need to
train
get in there
into
and
it.
we just
It wouldn't be
Jump
the
train
first
on it.
time. It wouldn't be the first time we've just busted through some sort of high-tech wall in a dungeon. It happens quite frequently.
Yeah.
Cash and lockets.
finally we got through a
in
barrier
Boss,
without Sid's help.
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he built another train. I'm just saying, it's possible.
Maybe Sid souped up the train.
Oh.
Amazing.
Okay.
Okay, slide 8.
Okay.
All right, so this is from the dungeon video, which seems to show more of the same area. That looks like the shuttle transports in the drawing. We can go right to number 9.
Got it.
Here it is from another angle, and I put this one in just to highlight that triangle door. This is going to be another thing that I'm not terribly confident in. But if let's go to slide 10 just to get it up there.
Okay.
There was this pyramid in one of the artworks that Yoshipi had up on screen, and it never really came up, and it never really meant anything. But I noticed that it's also purple, and it also has a lot of triangles. So I didn't want to leave it out, even though it looks so much older and lower tech than what we're dealing with. But I didn't want to leave it out because I am a paranoid kind of person.
Well, that's good. That's what lore people love, the paranoid, you know?
Just in case,
Yeah.
like if someone's watching this a year from now, they're like, I can't believe he missed the pyramid.
He never mentioned it.
Oh, yeah, after this show, by the way, after Endwalker comes, or not Endwalker, Dawntrail comes out, we're going to come back to the show, listen to it, and then make fun of everyone who was wrong. That is what we're going to do. Yeah.
Please, by
I
all
want to
means.
talk about the pyramids. They're
Okay.
important.
All right. Do you want to go
Okay.
to the next one?
Slide.
All right.
Yeah, slide 11.
There.
I got nothing really to say about this one, just hallway.
Oh, this
Looks
is,
like it's
you know,
in a
like
dungeon.
when Luke Skywalker went down in the vent. There's a little vent right there.
It looks so Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all
Like,
right.
it looks like Purple Galactic Empire. It looks like the Galactic Empire got shipped like a crate of the wrong light bulbs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. Then 12?
12. Same thing. Not a lot to say about it. Looks like a kind of like a bridge area. Same empire. Same thing. Same dungeon video.
Mm-hmm.
13.
Got it.
Okay, this one is also from the dungeon art, and the colors seem to be slightly off hue here than the rest, but it shares the same high-tech setting and the fans we see in the rest of Solution 9, so I'm a little more confident this is related. I think it's just kind of the blue glow bouncing off of everything, but we see a lot of these closed tanks that look similar to this open tank, so I just wanted to include it, especially because I'm pretty sure my friends here are going to bring up some theories that involve some like G words and some stuff from a ninth Final Fantasy, which shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
You know what's funny? So just for those that are curious, we've been on the show we've been going through this at least for about 10 minutes or so. We're about halfway through the slides, So we have a
Yep.
lot. There's a lot more information than I thought there was on this. At least pictures to show you guys.
Yeah.
But just to give you a heads up on what that looks like, and then we're going to get into the meat of the conversation after we hit all these slides, right?
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows what the heck we're talking about.
Yeah. All right.
All right, ready for 14?
Ready.
All right, we've actually arrived at solution 9 now.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can start going crazy. Our only hint for this one is that Yoshi P said that they actually removed most of the objects from view of what our previews are. That they actually got rid of everything but the background because this would be a spoiler of some kind. So that may be a hint that we could recognize it, or it may not. We'll see.
That's
Kick
a
it to
spiral.
15.
It's one of them spirals. that's just
Amrot, but again.
Yeah.
It took it the spiral. That's it.
All right, are we at 15?
We're 15 now. Yep.
All right, this is the same thing. It's just a different angle. But if you look at the top right, you can see a highway sign that says Solution 9. So
Top right. Hold on.
someone is, yep, very top right. You can see on the bridge.
Does that say
Do you
solution?
see like
9?
the?
How do you interpret
It's in
that?
proto alphabet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's in,
Yeah, this is where we're gonna
That's a
bring
whole
up
other
one of the
thing.
big hints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
all
gonna
right.
bring this up now, and then I'm gonna bring it back in a couple slides, and then I'm gonna
Yeah.
let them go crazy with it.
Okay.
So-
okay.
This alphabet you can read if you have the Encyclopedia Eorzea 3.
Lorbeck 3.
Okay.
There-
Best advertising.
There is a speculated alphabet that is like a common root between the Eorzean alphabet on the source, which was taken from the Allagons, and the Vrontic alphabet on the first. There's like a shared origin between the source and first's alphabets, maybe. And we've seen it in the game before. It just looks so similar to Eorzea, and nobody really stopped to take a look at it, I think. But yeah, it says that one says Solution 9.
Okay.
All right. 16.
Got it.
Same place, different angle, but I wanted to point out that like there are several buildings you can go inside and they're kind of connected by roads. But I want you to focus on the lower left of the building. You see those like white panels sticking up?
Oh yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch to 17. We're going to swoop.
Okay.
Now you should see those same structures at the lower right now. And we appear to be in a park, a nearby park. We got like lights and benches and water features. It looks like people actually go here.
I don't see any
Keep an
people.
eye on the. No people, which is weird. They took everything out so we wouldn't see it.
Ah, okay.
All right, focus on the trees. Swoop to 18.
Okay.
Now we should have the same trees at the bottom, and we seem to have these massive residential buildings, or at least something that resembles them.
Mm-hmm.
Keep focusing on the building. We're going to go to 19. Swoop back. Now we're heading away from the park and the bus stop looking thing, but notice the signage.
Yeah.
This is like highly commercialized, as if people
Yeah.
are seeing this, as if there's marketing here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it to you guys to speculate what you think those posters look like and what races might be on them, but that's just the vibe they give off to me. I'm wrong all the time.
Wow.
Number 20.
Okay.
So, seemingly nearby, this is my favorite thing ever. This is like a mall. We've got more posters. There's like a coffee shop looking thing. We got an Ethernet crystal. This is my jam. I'm going to live here forever.
Wow. Yeah. I did not
And then-
realize we had this much. Okay, keep going.
21.
Uh-huh.
We're running inside one of the buildings and we see a poster. Like it's like one of those like mall posters that shows you where you are and where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what has caused all the theories to go crazy. The left side says elevator, nothing weird there. The top side says employment, nothing weird there. The bottom says soul supply, which what?
Yeah.
So the soul supply has a heart next to it and it's pointing to the right. So like hop over to 22 because I'm pretty sure we can actually go into this. This looks like it might be the soul supply area. And it looks like almost kind of looks like a waiting room. And it's got these objects everywhere and those objects could could have a very mundane explanation or a very insane explanation.
Well, never mind. Can I add a stupid thing real quick? Let me add a stupid thing. So I assume these are the same soul containers that you're looking at that Grahatia or whoever else went and used and existed in, right?
That could
All
it
right.
could be one of the
Similar
insane explanations as
technology,
possible.
yeah.
Like I could see anything from like health drink to soul vessel
Or lightsaber, you know?
or lightsaber.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining a soul smoothie now. These capsules, like you pop it open, it's like chug it like an energy drink. It's like, all right, that's my pre-workout.
This is why you guys are here. I need you to help me not be lame. I
Great.
played 1.0. I played 1.0. I operate entirely by precedent. I operate entirely by archives. So like the part of me that's afraid to be wrong is like, that's probably just to restore your anima. Probably just like an anima smoothie. It's probably nothing.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, we ready for 23?
Yep.
Okay. I love this. I love this. Black, purple, neon, night, lightning, everything. I'd never want to leave. So we have the same alphabet here. These signs say Nexus bar, meteor, danger. It looks like there's kind of like red lights flashing.
There's a
and in the
chocobo!
back There's a chocobo.
Digital
It looks like
There's a new
like a warning
chocobo
going on.
racetrack!
I have no idea what's going on here, but it looks like there's red lights and there's like an eye logo that says like danger on it. I don't know. I want to point out the QR looking code in the upper right. There's like this QR square block writing. It reminds me a little bit of something we've seen before in like the Labyrinth of the Ancients and stuff like that. Like Alog had a square alphabet, but so much of this would counter an Alagon theory that I'm not terribly confident in them, but I don't want to ignore it either.
It's very similar to a bunch of like the carvings that kind of light up a little bit in older Ronkin structures. It's not entirely the same, but if you go back and look at the dungeon related to Ronka and some of the art that we have associated with them, it's very similarly formatted.
Which ties into kind of some observations that were maybe a little less than serious that some friends and I had when we first went through Ronka. It was like, is this where they put all the ideas for Alog from before they were sci-fi?
That's pretty funny.
Like and then you have like the Mesoamerican touch and the pyramid touch, and there's so much we could do there. But there's one thing I want to point out is that we were talking about this alphabet and where it came from and who might be involved. And I want to talk about how paranoid I am about that billboard on the right, which seems to have a face on it.
Yeah.
And that looks like a Makote face to me. So much so that slide 24, please. So much so that I went and recreated her.
Wow. Oh. The pupils are a little bit bigger.
Just to make sure. Huh?
Pupils are a little bit bigger on yours.
The pupils are a little bigger. Like the sizes are a little
awesome.
different. It looks like someone like made it and then drew it. And I don't know, like maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe they don't have anything to do with each other. But I made her. I like her. I'm gonna keep her. I call her Solution Nyan.
Yeah.
All right.
So maybe she's relevant. Maybe she's not. Last slide.
Okay.
Slide 25.
Oh man.
All right, so this is the final hint we got. This is the 8-man raid. This is the Arcadian, the 8-man location. It has all the elements we've seen so far: black, purple, neon, big fans, highways, advertisements. So I assume this place is in Solution 9. Take note of two things in this image because I'm sure they're going to come up in my friend's theory craft. First, to the very right of the image, a little lower than the middle, we have like an artistic rendering of 3 horned skull oni looking things. Don't really know what's going on there. And then halfway up the tower.
That's the one that got me really excited.
We have this hologram, which is going to have my blood pressure at peak until summer at least. Because there are a couple things we could see it as, but there's one thing that people are really sure they see. And I'm not gonna take anyone's thunder.
That
So-
is an that is an ASEAN glyph of one of the ASEANs that to date we have not seen in game. And I am stoked about it.
Yeah. I am
Yeah.
the kind of person that like, how do I put this? If it could be something that I think it is, I try to measure like, okay, how much wiggle room would I need to get from this? Like, let's say you have like a straight line in like a 3 looking thing, right? Like I could go, oh, that's a B. That's obviously a B. But with my luck, it's going to be a 13. And I'm going to look dumb.
Fair.
So I've got this thing I do where I just try to like leave as much room open as possible. And I could see the glyph. I could see it. And then part of me is like, what if it's just another horn skull thing? So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like a stick in the mud. So I want to hear like everybody's theories about everything. So yeah,
I mean,
this is good.
I was gonna say we can start here if you want. Since we're on
No, I have no plan from here. I just wanted to make sure that like, I wanted to make sure if we just started the cast and we're like, so yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if we started and we were like, so anyway, in the Arcadian, which is in Solution 9, which has all the everybody would be like, wait, no, slow down. The what?
Yeah.
So yeah, now we're ready. Like, take it from wherever you want. Theory first. Is this your favorite theory?
Yes, resident ASEAN enjoyer / enthusiast. Definitely my favorite theory. So for some context, if you don't know where the ASEAN glyphs come from, they're actually all drawn from the associated espers in Final Fantasy XII. Some of them share the names with ASEANs, some of them share the names of princes in an older society in Final Fantasy XII, but still have glyphs. The particular glyph that we see on there is most similar to Ultima's glyph in Final Fantasy XII, whose associated ASEAN is Ultima, who theoretically Gaius killed, but I don't really believe in his ability to kill an ASEAN. I'm sorry, I know.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I mean, you can kill the body that he's possessing. He's got the mask, but the soul's just going to go somewhere else. And the thing that makes me a little bit more certain about this being Ultima's glyph is that the concept of Ultima in Final Fantasy XIV, it usually revolves around the manipulation of souls in some way. The Evil East raids are a great example with people transforming into espers. Ultima's literally the final boss. The Sorrow of Verlet and the Weapons Project, that also involves the manipulation of souls. Even like the original casting of Ultima from the Ultimate Weapon is also like at its root in the science of it, a soul-based reaction. So we're seeing so much stuff in Solution 9 involving souls that I'm fairly confident that Ultima is involved somehow in that way. I'm also just excited for another ASEAN to cosplay. So there's some options here too. I'll be honest.
Right.
Okay. Bro, you similar thoughts on that?
So I've read the posts on Twitter, and you know that the thing is like I always try to like give the dev team their opportunity to do the bigger announcement and stuff like that, because I know it's the research is sound, right? And I always have to give a shout out to the ASEAN fandom. They find things before I can even like realize it happened. Okay, like the speed at which the information travels in part of the community is incredible. Because like, for example, we didn't find out about, what was it, like people were talking about their titles at one point. I was like, where are you getting all these titles? I don't even remember that in the game. Turns out South Korean players got the lore book 2 weeks in advance, and then started posting pictures. And then the ASEAN fandom found the pictures specifically associated with the ASEAN and started trending that. And I was just like, where is this all coming from? And then realizing, oh, it's the third lore book that they got early. Wait, what? Like, so, like, huge shout out, because the amount of information, like, I mean, it's like that, right? So I've been reading, and it makes sense in terms of like visually, right? This is what we're seeing. This is what we've seen in the past. But I still want to be like, all right, dev team, if you got to state it, right? We're gonna wait till you say it. But from what we see, it's definitely leaning in that sort of direction. I do want to add, of course, you know, part of the lore book thing. One of the big things they have is everybody's titles, right? And they mention that Ultima Her role is the composer. She's an advocate of aesthetics and the myriad arts, right? So thinking on that fact, and I actually talked to Thematic about this, we were like, if you're an Asian, the central role of your position in the convocation was, society, right? Your role is something related to culture. Why not make a city? Why not make that your project? And then that's where we're kind of floating on. We're like, if this is something that they were assigned to do in the past, and then they were just trying to maintain that prospect for the future when, their plan was to recreate the art or recreate everything and try to bring back all the shards, then they have a city for everyone to come back to. I don't know, So
Oh, I
that's
like that.
yeah. If Ultima is the advocate of the arts, right, and then of course the same expansion that introduced the Pictomancer, it's like there's a lot of art going on here, a lot of mentions to that. I wonder, but like I said, it's all kind of just you're just speculating, throwing things together, seeing what sticks for the future. So.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I introduced myself as a conspiracy theorist, because that is really what I'm doing. Like, if I were in Eorzea, I'd probably be locked in a Charlian basement saying stuff like this.
That's what makes it fun, though. But I mean,
Right,
like,
right.
for
Exactly.
me, the reason I get so hesitant is because, like, there's a word that I love, apophenia. It means to see
yes, I love
connections
that
where
word.
where none exist.
Mhm.
To imagine a meaningful connection in a coincidence. When you look at the clouds and you see shapes, apophenia. And I am
Right.
very, very prone to this. And the problem is that when you're prone to apophenia and you have like a good vocabulary and you like talking, people will believe you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
so like, and I can do it about anything. Like I can look at this and go, okay, so there's purple and there's pyramids, so Mahak. So it's definitely Mahak, right? And then
Yeah.
we see like the sign that says danger, and there's a picture of an eyeball, and so that's like danger. Don't look at void sent gazes, and that's why they have like they have like the meteor bar because Chatoto, and like before you know it, I've accidentally convinced 100 people that something that doesn't exist is coming.
Sorry, I'm
I
just
am so careful.
yeah. I just love the
Yep.
idea of Chitoto in a bar now. That's funny to
She
me.
would be. She would be. I mean, after
Yeah.
all that work.
Well,
But that's like
that's the
fun
thing,
of it
though,
is
Moose.
when you
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
when you know that's what you're doing, and you're not like accidentally setting yourself up for disappointment by saying
Right.
when you know that's what you're doing, that's so much fun. And I feel like sometimes that fun gets kind of beaten out of us in the fandom. So it's really fun to come to stuff like this and kind of find my love for that again.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love being wrong. I thought Pandemonium was
Yeah.
going to be very different from what it was. I love being wrong because it just makes me enjoy it more.
The
Mhm.
surprise. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's the whole thing. You're just going through the whole motions of figuring out the mysteries, and then that's why everyone loves Ancient Aliens, right? All right, everybody loves Ancient Aliens. Okay, we all know what it is. But I mean, we pull what we can, and we're given the best answers we know. My answers would be a lot shittier than your answers, but we're given the best answers you know, and that anyone would kind of know at that point. And the only way that you could not be wrong is by not saying anything at all. So, and that's boring as shit. So, yeah. So we have a lot of slides here to go through. I know probably a lot of these might have piqued your interest while we're going through them. If there's any that you want me to pull back up on the screen and you want to talk about something in particular, anyone at all, let me know. Or we could just go ahead and just go into whatever's on the top of your mind right now, with what we know from Solution 9 and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, I can do top of mind if M's okay.
Do it.
Yeah. So one thing I want to get out in the air and just kind of like say it, because it's been the number one bug that I've had regarding this area.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, it's not antithetical to the Final Fantasy setting. Okay. The Solution 9 fits the Final Fantasy setting. And this is a big thing that I've noticed. A lot of people, and it may have it's I'm not gonna like name any names or say anything. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like some people have forgotten the game that we play. It does involve not just magic, but it also involves a lot of high technological settings. And one of the things I wanted to point out is to remember that what someone said in one of the streams I did a while back, right? It was a really cool word that they used. They said techno barbarian was the word that he used, and it was like referring to the state of a society trying to build on the ashes of a previous one, right? Which is, I mean, that's literally what Final Fantasy XIV is, right? The thing is that Eorze is unique in the fact that it's not only had to do that once, it's had to do that 7 times, right? Society had been reset 7 times in a row, like within gaps of time and within gaps of years, but they had to start over with their civilization, start over with their culture, start over with everything 7 separate times. So what happens when you have a place or a society that's not being affected by the calamity, right? You have another place. The other place is always getting reset. They have to relearn everything. They got to relearn their alphabets, right? They got to relearn knowledge. Because I mean, some of the eras they were burning all the books because they were afraid of it, right? So they're losing knowledge. But what if none of that happened, right? So you're starting from the era of the Sundering, which was 10,000 years ago, and you're not having calamities over and over again. Yeah, Cyber City is like probably the easiest way to go with 10,000 years of culture, you know?
So that's the theory, is that this is just not been affected?
Yeah.
Okay.
My theory, my prevailing theory, is to kind of help people get comfortable with the idea of it. Because I know, here's the thing, right? If it's not your aesthetic, understandable. But it fits in the game, right? Because everything else that we've seen at this point, the source was struggling. It's in the Eorzean area, right? And even different areas, right? They mentioned in the third lore book, I was reading some of the passages, they're talking about how some of the civilizations of Thavnair were started because of calamities. Like calamities affected outside of Arlenard itself, right? There are different areas that are being affected as well from the calamities. So if you have an area that's not getting affected at all whatsoever, you know, unparalleled growth, unparalleled, civilization prospects. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it makes a lot of sense if they're not getting messed with.
Is this so? The theory, it's the split happened, and then they just avoided every calamity after the split, or is this they weren't even affected by the split? Like, what's the?
I'm thinking they weren't affected by the calamity. So the split affected everybody. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone had to restart at that point. But Eorze had to restart specifically 7 times after that, because each calamity recreated the conditions that made them have to go back into a dark age sort of setting and all that stuff. So if you're not having to reset all those times, I mean,
Okay.
So that's what I'm thinking.
They have been a little wobbly about how much other places in the world were affected by what calamities. So there's like a little bit of room, and even if you could somehow demonstrate that the whole world was affected by things, I can think of like 5 other excuses for there to be a place that's had a long time without being affected by a calamity. And I'm sure some of those are going to come up in our various theories. So like I can think of like if all you wanted to say was Solution 9 had a long time to develop because it wasn't affected by a calamity, I could come up with several ways to make that work. If indeed that was true.
Well, I mean, if you look at the slide, if you look at slide 2, I mean, there's a bubble around the city. There's some level of protection going on there on the map. So it's possible that they figured out some way and they're just like, fuck it, we're not leaving this bubble, and that was it, right?
Yeah, and even if like calamities did affect them, it doesn't necessarily have to mean the entire downfall of a civilization. So much of what we see in Eorze is also like bits and pieces of these civilizations that existed beforehand as well. Maybe this is just a nation that simply never went to war or never started dabbling in like a bunch of Allegan shit. Like there's all sorts of like explanations for that, because you can take a hit and pick yourself back up, and if you're isolationist enough that you're not like constantly at war or like dabbling in magic that you shouldn't be, you could just recover from there as well. You don't need to hit the total reset button every time. We didn't after the 7th calamity. Still got loosely the same cities and stuff, even if there was a recovery period.
And just to remind everybody, we are just talking about the idea. It's not saying this is what it is.
This isn't the lore. Like, we don't have...
This is all theory.
This got announced like 5 days ago. So we have nothing to tell you that is solid fact.
Yeah.
Everything here is theoretical. Everything here is presentation.
Yeah.
So we could be completely, they talk about, was it when you're flying a plane, you can't go an angle, one angle difference, because you do that, you're going to be way off your course. We could be absolutely way off course. And I'm guarantee you some of these points will be way off course. But that's the fun part, right?
Here's the thing, too, to add into all of this stuff, with the information that we got, they purposely gave us this information, right? There could be a couple of things that they're like, oh, I kind of I didn't realize that was there. There could be a couple of those, but a lot of this information, they have an idea of what we know, and they know when they present something like this, the things that we may think. So they could be trying to throw a curveball at us, or they could be trying to give us hints to have fun with. This is literally them giving us like food and meals and stuff, and they're like, here you go, guys, you're eating real good for quite a while. Enjoy with these 20 screenshots, right?
Yeah, I'm nervous because if this is what they're willing to reveal to us, what is, because this is, we know CBU3 to be the peak in terms of red herrings, right? They do this all the time with their trailers, with their art. You'll just like, oh my gosh, it's definitely this, and then no, absolutely was not, right? Like it's just, and then the realization, you're like, wow, I got completely led, and that's what's really cool about it, is because despite, at least up until this point, despite everything that they've shared, right, everything they always share to us or present in any trailer, there's always some huge twist to it. So it's like, okay, so if this is what we get to know, what do we not know?
So here's the thing.
That's going to be the part. That's
this
crazy.
is level 80 or 95 stuff.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Stuff. It's not even the Enzo. Yeah. So
yeah, I have guessed 2 straight expansions wrong based on trailer content, and
it's impossible to get an actual direction from it, and they do that on purpose.
Everything I thought was relevant in Endwalker was dead by 83, and like there's a clip of me just like looking at my notepad and going like whatever, like we're done. Like,
yeah.
It's so funny because I feel like I had the opposite experience in Endwalker, where it was like, oh, we're actually fighting Zodiark. Everyone was like, wow, this is only level 83, and I'm like, I thought that we weren't going to be fighting him at all. This is strange for me.
That's my thing, is I didn't understand how you get to that point, and they were just like, oh, you just don't, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh man, yeah, I think a lot of people who do the thing is, the perception of when people play Final Fantasy XIV, they come in and it's this high fantasy world at the start, right? You have a little bit of stuff there, but you're like, oh, we're high fantasy, and then you start realizing the world's a lot bigger. You have the Garleans, you have all this other stuff, and you're like, all right, they're pushing boundaries a little bit. That's fine. And then you realize, fuck it, there is so much fucking technology and insane shit out there that you can't really go wrong with like how you introduce the fantasy to everybody. This is like a big love letter to the entire series of Final Fantasy, and you could pull from any kind of era, of any kind of technological advance, and it would fit well in Final Fantasy XIV almost. I don't think there's anything that wouldn't fit well in this game.
I'm leaning really hard on 9 for this one. I'm getting a lot of 9 vibes, but like even just to defend the does this fit in Final Fantasy, like how does this not look a little like the Midgar Sector 7 vibes? Like,
right, yeah.
Like we've seen stuff like this before. Like I always refer to this joke that they made at me one time where it was like, well, how does like Hildebrand like fit? And they were like, if you don't have like lore breaking, world breaking, fourth wall breaking comedy that's really stupid, is it still Final Fantasy? And I was like, damn it. Like,
yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
there's room for everything.
When you talk about Midgar and everything, I mean, obviously, slide floor 4 here. It looks like a big disc up there, right? I mean, it looks very familiar, kind of ruins old stuff at the bottom and everything else. And so there is like a mix of possibly, and a train. Of course, a train is important for 7 too, right?
Yeah.
And so,
it looks high enough to escape a flood, that's for sure. Right?
Like, right. Yeah, oh, you're right. Yeah.
No, don't take me seriously.
No, but you're making me feel so validated and also getting those vibes. Like I feel like I'm onto something, at least aesthetically.
we could make the case for almost anything, and that's why we're here to talk about the different cases you can make for it and just have fun.
Yeah. So what's funny also in this whole conversation about high fantasy and everything else, when I think of 9, I do think of high fantasy, right? Like, but I don't think it was high fantasy actually, right? They were cloning people and they were doing because I only have a couple of
separate. There's 2 universes.
Yeah. I barely remember any of that shit. So it kind of has that same effect. And so this is really interesting. I don't know how hard they will lean into the themes here, but
Right.
we'll see. Okay, what else? What else do we got? Things that you've been thinking about since the presentation.
And I should probably mention they did tell us in the presentation that the area is known to have a lot of, they said, like Levin-based clouds, lightning clouds. They like their old words. Levin is an old word for lightning.
Yep.
That, but it really piqued my attention to that. They took the time to mention that because I've been making the joke. I'm like, Dawntrail is like the expansion, but what if it's purple? Because we've been getting all these purple references. We got lightning ether, which is represented by the color purple, and then someone pointed out, like, I mean, if you notice in was it the trailer itself, right? The monster that Estinian fights has purple scales, right? You look at the
I actually did
poster
notice
art.
that.
Yeah, it's someone did.
Oh
it.
yeah.
I
This is
wish
like
you
a
had that.
Godzilla thing, right?
The Godzilla thing that
Yeah, I
pops
didn't- I
out.
didn't
We've
even
seen the
make a purple
monster
connection.
before. Yeah, we've seen the monster before. It's actually a boss in one of the dungeons.
Yeah.
It's, Somal hard mode. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I was like, it's one of the dragon words.
Yeah.
Somal hard mode, you fight it, but this one specifically has purple scales on its back, and then so someone pointed that out in addition to the I think it was the art for the expansion itself, right, where it shows Meteor and as a viper. They
Mhm.
got little birds flying by with purple on its back. And you're just like, there's some sort of corruption vibe going on here. Like, like either it's too much energy, right? There's like an overflow of energy and it's starting to infest in a way. Because like you see the birds, you see that the monster with the purple scales, you're like, what's going on here, right? Why are they showing this like creeping, presence and all these things, right?
Like
And then,
nuclear toxic waste, but it's purple stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're thinking it's like an energy overflow. I've had conversations in the past. We talked about, like, for example, right, with the 12 returning to the live stream, right? There's so much more ether in the world now, and it's just kind of flowing everywhere. To like, what if it just overflows? What if there's just too much ether in one area? What happens with that? How would you have to deal with that as a society, right? If you're in an area that's replete with a certain type of ether, and it's they mention lightning ether specifically, you can harness lightning ether to generate electricity, right? And so this kind of puts this is why I was like thinking it kind of puts them a little bit of advance, because I like to mention that ceruleum, as beneficial as it was for the Garleans, ceruleum is kind of like oil, right? Or at least it's the way we refine oil, we produce oil, and most of the Magitech
Fantasy
is
petroleum.
run. Yeah, it's fantasy petroleum, right? Magitech is run on fantasy petroleum, and this is that's the level of technology they were found, but they had no like mention of lightning ether. So if you have a direct source of energy in your place at all times to a point where it's overflowing and it's like affecting the wildlife around it, it's like, what do you do? I mean, you could probably use that. And so I've been saying with the lightning and ether, they have way more energy at their hands, and then they're probably just able to turn that into what people have been saying, like a sanctuary of some sort. But it's like, I think we are going to have to like get in there and be like, they'll be like, hey, so we kind of need some help. We have a lot of ether going around and it's affecting the wildlife. Can we do something about that? And then we have to get into, that's when we learn about, oh, this is why the city was built and stuff like that.
I mean,
that's my guess.
Like,
But
now that you mentioned that, going back to the slide Moose had, I think which slide was it? 10 with the temple in there, and it kind of has the purple stuff on there too. It looks a little infected, right?
right.
Yeah.
Urkopacha's dungeon has a lot of like purple stuff coming out of the ground too.
Yeah, it's just the creeping presence vibe that I've been seeing on a lot of like the art and stuff like that. They also have there's that one dungeon with the weird, it's like the weird crystals that have that like coral effect. They were showing those off, and it made me think about that a lot. Like just this general idea that maybe they have an energy source that has helped them in the past, but now they need help quelling it. It's like, we have a lot of this. We need to put it back in where it's safer or something. So.
And then that's going, I got the story. You go to the temples. All right. All right. You go to the temples, and then you're like, hey, we're on vacation. We're just going to talk it, do some, I don't know, political crap here about who's supposed to be king or queen or whatever they're doing here, all right? Then all of a sudden, nuclear waste comes in, and you're like, oh, fuck, what do we do? And you got to go into this infected temple that they have over there because it got infected, and you just got to keep going all the way to the source and deal with it. That's the first half of the story.
I just pulled up the shots of the other areas that we just got, and even the trees have like this bluish purple stuff growing on them and coming out of them and glowing. And damn it, you might be right. You might be onto something. There could be like a creeping vibe. This feels like a good time to throw out another one of the theories, though.
Okay.
So the area around the tower is perpetual clouds and storms, perpetual dark, lightning all the time. And they made a big deal out of how much lightning energy there was there. So, of course, that gets the people thinking, like, how could you be like proto-alphabet and lightning? And there's a lot of like, what if somehow second umbral calamity? And like the 12th shard? And like, what if they like... yeah, what if they like Gaia Terra'd here, over here, across the lightning calamity, and like built themselves out of their like digitized environment to have like bodies again, and now they have to like drink soul juice and
you know what?
There's like a 12th dimension theory, there's a second umbral calamity connection theory. I've
heard those too.
They're coming. They killed the purple Godzilla. Ascidian kills him, and then they serve him up on meat, or he serves the meat up to the town. They all get fucking sick, and they're poisoned, and they gotta find it. It's there.
Oh my god! polluting the natural world.
Yeah. Gosh, we're
gonna have like a green ASAP thing going on. Yes. This is gonna be some Fern Gully vibes.
Yes. Let's go.
Oh man, they gave it all to us. Who knew? Okay, all right. What other thoughts do you have here?
No, I'm just sitting here processing the like ether overflow of lightning thing because I hadn't actually been thinking about that. I was just thinking about how this was like super advanced society, so of course they would be using like lightning aspected ether as a power source if it was magically based instead of technologically based, like Garlemald is, because it's like the perfect way to join the modern technology aesthetic with a more magical, grounded civilization in Final Fantasy XIV. But I hadn't actually heard the theory about the 12th just coming and existing on the source, but like it's the inherent naming of Solution 9 does imply something interplanar in some way, just thinking about the references to Final Fantasy IX. So that's more in the direction that I've been leaning, not necessarily that it has happened, but that they could be using energy that way instead, more drawing it from that place, thus giving it an overabundance, versus having it from the land itself is kind of the way that I've been leaning towards it. But there's just been so much 9 imagery in this that it really is like, oh, I'm thinking about this because it's the kind of story that I would love to play through. And I would love to see how that would work, because we've seen shards rejoining. We know what that looks like from kind of a physical perspective. But if there's like another interplanar, some sort of relationship happening either between shards or something else, I'd love to see how that would kind of play out given what we've already experienced as far as rejoinings go.
Do either of you have any like passionate excitement for another G word related to 9 that you want to bring up? Like the G. Do you want to bring it up?
Yeah.
Moose wants this brought up. So let's bring it up.
Okay, hold on. What's the slide it's on? It's on slide 13.
Okay, let me grab it. Go ahead and start talking though.
So spoilers for Final Fantasy IX, I guess, but if you hadn't already.
It's fair.
The overarching plot is basically trying to transplant souls from one universe to another on like sister planets, I guess is the best way to say it. So the home planet is Gaia. That's the like huge like high fantasy vibe. And then eventually you go to Terra, where it's a very technological city where they're kind of just trying to overtake Gaia and replace the souls through a weird body transplant soul process. The science on it was never explained in 9, and to this day I don't fully understand it. But that's where a lot of like the soul supply stuff is coming in, and the specific container there is where you see
Yeah.
them like growing clones to transplant souls into, so that they can like go into their sister planet. Which, in the context of what we've already talked about, is mildly terrifying for the Final Fantasy XIV universe.
Yo, does that mean
Right.
that Gigi's going to be a part of all this stuff? You guys know who Gigi is?
Vivi? Oh, Gigi, the version of Vivi in 14?
Yeah.
I would love to see Gigi return. I love the little black mage aesthetic from 9.
Yeah.
I want to see Gigi back.
'Cause I mean-
I was still making jokes about Alog and Mahak and hadn't even really thought about what we had seen yet. And I walk back into my chats and everybody's going crazy about the genome already. And the closest I could do was like, I looked up what the genome are because I haven't played 9 since I was like 12. And I'm looking at like the tanks and the blue stuff, and then I pulled up the one from the dungeon of the tank and the blue stuff, and I just put those pictures together, and that was about all I could contribute. So I'm glad someone knows enough about 9 to help me fill in the gaps there, because that was a big theory, was that somehow like there was like digitizing of souls or moving of souls, or like maybe
Right.
transporting them across dimensions from the 12th, or maybe this was like, let's get Ultima back involved. Maybe this was like a subset of the Ascian plan, and when they got like their souls back from Zodiark, they were gonna put them in, you know, new bodies here somehow, or
Mm.
there's like all sorts of crazy theories.
Now, my assumption was, and again, same thing. I haven't played 9 since forever, and I'd never beat it. I can't even remember how far I've gotten into it. But Vivi was a part of that whole experiment, right? And the whole question of soul and all this other stuff. And so that's why, you know, if they put Gigi in here, this would be a good place to just like say, hey, let's put him into the real story for a little bit, not that fake side story stuff that no one cares about, right? Right.
'Cause it was the situation with Vivi in 9 is that the black mages there were essentially weapons where the bodies would
Mhm.
eventually degrade, and then
Mhm.
they would have to keep making more until they were ready to actually merge the two worlds. And then they had like the actual genomes, like again, spoilers, I guess. Zidane and Kuja, who were like actually supposed to be the beings that could survive long enough in this new world, because the two planes were kind of incompatible.
Mm-hmm.
Again, mildly terrifying implications for
Yeah.
Solution 9 the area, especially because we've seen these genome tanks, is I guess what we're calling them. At the very least, they bear strikingly similar aesthetic similarities, and I'm
Mhm.
scared, man.
Reply to Balar in chat. Yeah, they would be pretty big genome tags. Like for all I know, that's
Yeah.
just a freaking refined ceruleum tank, and I'm gonna look
Yeah.
like
Right.
an idiot in a month. So
We got like the
like-
small soul containers too. We're sundered
Yeah.
souls. We're not that big. You can fit us inside one of those little pocketbooks.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and again, just to remind you guys, I'm the person that doesn't know a lot about story and lore. So when I say stupid stuff, that's just me saying my stupid stuff. So the layman
And-
can kind of connect a little bit too.
And for all we know, like half of what we're saying is true, and it's going to turn out they are just aliens.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching the show. We're going to take just a moment here to show some appreciation for a couple of our sponsors who support MogTalk, Tokyo Treat and Sakuraco. If you're unfamiliar with them, give me just a moment to go ahead and tell you what they're about. Tokyo Treat is a monthly Japanese snack box that is solely focused on snacks that are the latest and most exclusive, also limited or seasonal editions of snacks. So things like Sakura Pepsi and Japanese sake Kit Kats. It also comes with ramen, drinks, and much, much more. Sakuraco is focused on supporting local Japanese snack makers, which include traditional, authentic, and artisan snacks. It will also come with Japanese teas and special items like tableware. The focus on both of these boxes, of course, focus on the New Year's celebrations. So let's go ahead and start this year off with a bang and see what they got for us in 2024. For Tokyo Treat, it includes snacks like the Lucky Red and White Kit Kats, Good Luck Taiyaki, Hitomen Yaime Soba, and much more. Since I need all the luck I can get this year, I am definitely going to try the Taiyaki. I didn't actually look up anything for the Taiyaki. I'm just going to go ahead and try it out and see what it's like. Here's the packaging. Actually pretty nice overall packaging. Let's see. See it right here. This little chocolate rim, it looks like, on the side of it. That is actually, I say this every time, but it's extremely good. Like, this actually tastes like chocolate. Not just like super sugary sweet. Like, it tastes like if you're actually getting chocolate from a professional chocolate place. I don't know if that's true at all, but when we look at our booklet, it says, did you know that Tai or sea brim are the symbols of good luck and wealth in Japan? We added a crispy taiyaki snack with a smooth chocolatey center to bring luck this year. I think this is the same thing I like about all the snacks that we're getting from these boxes, is that they're just never overbearingly sweet, which is something that I need. Thank you very much. Now let's also see what Sakura has in store for us in January. Of course, their theme also centers on the new year, but they're putting an extra focus on actually Hiroshima as well to celebrate its beauty. They're including treats such as the lemon mochi, banana babkachin, New Year's senbei, and omikoji candy. I'm going to go ahead and try out the babkachin because that actually looks extremely good just by going through the box. Is the first thing that caught my eyes. Now again, I haven't looked up a description for it. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. This babkachin here is actually, it feels very soft within the packaging itself. So let's go ahead and give it a try. And you can see on it here, I'll try to make sure the camera, if we could focus a little bit, it's hard to catch it, but you can see the layers that kind of go around inside of it. But yeah. Alright. It tastes exactly like cake. A very, very tasty cake at that. But yeah, and you could taste banana in it as well. If you guys have ever had banana nut bread, it's not too far off from it, just without the nuts and the extra parts to it. Okay. Alright. Let's read on it. Hands first, kachin was baked in Hiroshima a century ago. This moist and flavorful banana babkachin is fused with luscious banana taste. Sorry, I'm still in my mouth a little bit. And a delightful twist to a time-honored treat. Awesome. Now, they also come with the tableware or some extra piece to it. The Sakura boxes, that is. We're going to show you guys that as well. So if you can look, they gave us a wrapping cloth. Let's pull that guy out. This is machine washable. And, wow, alright, there you go. So you have a good view of that. Hats on it and everything else. That all being said, I want to thank everybody who took a moment to listen to me in the middle of the show to show my appreciation for the sponsors who helped make MogTalk happen. Tokyo Treat and Sakura are both amazing services that are definitely worth at least a try. Now, every time you do try, you can use the MogTalk link, and you can use the code that we have as well, and that will give you $5 off at least your first box for that trial period. I mean, Japanese snacks delivered straight from Japan to your doorstep. Sounds like a pretty good deal while supporting the podcast you guys are watching right now. Thank you, Tokyo Treats and Sakura for sponsoring us in January. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Right. Yeah.
It
Because
wouldn't
I
be
mean,
the
like,
first time.
planets are in. We're gonna be like going to different planets in our like lifestyle content. Who knows
I know
what the hell's out there we don't know about?
Cosmic exploration. They only showed us what we know. Medion visited 18 civilizations. We only got to meet like 5. So it's like there's a
Imagine if
lot
it
out
also
there.
turned out she just had like terrible statistical luck. Like 18 planets.
Yeah, this her flight patterns weren't great. You know, it's kind of
We
There's like
get to-
25 happy planets out there. She just happened to miss them.
just happened to miss them all.
We get to the 19th planet and it's the happiest society in the world and everything's great.
Yeah, if only they went to the right one, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's all right. Okay. What else do we got, guys? What else is out there in the aether of lore conversation?
So I did see something. Someone actually just tweeted this, like not even about
Hot
it was about
scoops.
40. And it was hot scoops 40 minutes ago on the thread I made about Solution 9. They're mentioning that apparently there is a tribe of the Zayla that traveled the ocean from the Far East, and they said that the legend
Yes.
is that they returned with tales of a terrible island covered in massive gray monoliths and inhabited by fire-breathing steel demons. So I'd miss that entirely. I would have never seen that because I mean I haven't looked at the Zayla naming conventions in a while, but that is a really impressive find. So huge shout out to that person that found that.
Yeah, someone threw that out right away. It's like you could tell that like there are people who have their head in different lore all the time, and like when something like this happens, like my time has come.
I've never like when it comes to lore and the lore community and those like lore enthusiasts, we have our special interests, and there's certain subjects that we're just really really good at. Like I
So
mean,
could the
like
demon
talking
be
about
the
anything.
eliminator?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right, it's like and
Yeah.
I will put it out there. The dev team only does prepare 2 years in advance. I think that's their going rate.
More or less.
So they sometimes they have the gift of prophecy. Sometimes they're lucky. Like it's just they were straight up saying Asians in the past weren't really something they had well developed up until what post Stormblood timeframe is when they were like, okay, we should probably give them some more personality, and then
No
turns out
exit
they give
strategy.
them like they went all down to that was they gave them one of the best personalities we know. But yeah, back in the past they didn't really have plans for the Asians. So all these things we find in the like kind of like retroactively are really cool connections. But it's an interesting storytelling method that 14 has where they'll just like, hey, let's throw things until it sticks, and then we did that. Okay, let's grab that and bring it back, and then and then tie it all
This
together.
is what I call these additive retcons, where you look into the past, and instead of taking it out of the game, you actually think, how can I build more around this so that it
Like,
means
build on top
something
of
totally different than what I intended at the time, but it's not inconsistent. And the team is so good at that skill. It's a vital writing skill if you're going to write anything that takes longer than one entry, right? You need to be able to reframe the past. And I think that they are so good at introducing new lore that looks like it was intended all along.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that was a really cool find that they just mentioned. This Ara tribe may have had contact with Toral in the past. I'm like, man, like I want to because someone also brought it up in the chat too. We were talking about the environmental issue. We have this giant machine that's going to be a trial. We're going to have to fight it at some point, and why it's doing what it's doing and everything. And one of the biggest tells of something bad, or at least it's like in quotations, something bad was when I noticed that giant crack in the ocean, right? Because everyone's mentioned it a little bit in Twitter. I've seen it mentioned, but we have to acknowledge there's literally a continental divide between North and South Paral, and that's like, that's probably going to be explained. They have a bridge and everything. But one thing I noticed is that they said that part of the right of secession, right, for the kings, for the autarch of Tuliolal, part of the secession opportunity is learning the knowledge of the city of gold, right? And it made me like I'm having this like these connecting moments where I'm like, if they're doing this, you got this continental divide, you got a bridge. It looks like the only way to access the North Continent is from Tuliolal, but it looks like with some sort of permission, I'd imagine, right? Which we'd have to earn by doing all these contests and things like that, right? We're going to probably find out City Gold is a metaphor of some sort. It's not actually like, El Dorado or anything like that, but it'll just be like, oh, hey, this is called the City of Gold because it makes us money. Or, I don't know, something like that. It's like, I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
I can bolster your argument, and then you can keep going. Sorry.
You're good.
I mean, if you have a city that looks like it has a lot to offer, like take Solution 9 for example. You have something that's like far and away more technological. It looks far more like established. It looks far more wealthy. It looks far more capable. I mean, why wouldn't you look at that and go, the city of riches, like the city
Right,
of
exactly.
unattainable everything, the city of gold? And I mean, even the Eliminator looks like it's got gold on it. So there may be
Yeah,
some
right.
like
Yeah, it was
non-zero gold, right? Go, go, go.
So yeah, no, definitely. And when I was thinking about that city of gold and opportunities earned through Rise of Secession, following with the customs of the people there, right? It made me think of, if anyone's familiar with the Marvel the Cinematic Universe, right? Kind of just jumping over to a different storyline. You remember when they revealed Wakanda for the first time,
Mhm.
right? It was like nobody knew anything about this place. Nobody, not the entire planet was unaware that there was this massively high advanced civilization and dead center of this area. And then we come to find out from the internal story of the movie, right, that these tribes had banded together to protect the land and keep it secret. They were not going to tell anybody about these meteorites because they're like, this power can be abused, so we're not going to tell anyone. And so I did remember also see that being mentioned. They're like, the aesthetic's so different than what we expected. It's like maybe it's just those people of Tuliolal, right, have a soft, an agreement established by generations of kings, generations of autarchs that no one knows what the city of gold is unless you pass the test, and then when you find out, it's like, oh yeah, it's super hyper advanced civilization that our ancestors, people long before we even showed up started doing. So we protected. We're kind of like we watched the bridge to that area, but that's everyone's like, why is it so contrasting? Why didn't they give them any of their tech? I'm like, it's probably a protection thing. It's probably like they have to keep it guarded because this is the kind of stuff you don't want people. Because like let's if you're a Thorali and you're sitting there and you're hearing stories about the continent far to the east of you from Eorzi, and you keep hearing about war all the time, right? Because Garleans are attacking, or I mean, you probably don't want to be like, oh hey, guess what? I live in a city that's powered by I get everything I need in the city. I don't need to. I don't want to tell them that because then they're probably going to find a way to abuse it. Also, why would I go over there where they're fighting all the time? It's just like it all the conditions are kind of there for a type of society that has built up and has protected itself through the legends and
Mhm.
kind of to top that off, right? That the Allagons did that all the time because they have their heaven on high, right? That was theirs. They just concealed it within the legend, and then they also did the was it the crooked coin? There's the thing in the Azim Step that was also theirs, and they just concealed with
That
the legend.
doesn't,
So
and that was also weird. Like
weirdly,
it looks probably closer to Solution 9 than it does to
than any of
Azizwa,
the
which is weird.
exactly right. We never got it. People did ask that too. They're like, why is it purple when everything else in Alec was red and things like that. So we're
So
seeing
and then
we're
the creeping corruption happened and everything started turning purple and they lost access to the Wakanda dome that like made it all invisible. You figured it
exactly.
out.
Yeah, I did. All right, I spoiled Dawntrail for everyone. I'll see
Thank you.
you. I'll see you
Thank you.
next. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
that's also part of the fun of it too, right? Because
Right.
nobody in the game is a reliable narrator. Nobody
Oh,
has
they
all
aren't.
the puzzle
They
of
never
pieces.
been. They
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
never.
even in like the Eorzi encyclopedias, if you read the like first page of each of them, they're like, "Oh, this is what we know in the universe," and you open to like the first page of physics in the first book, and all of that is now completely different because we understand more of the world. So,
Yep.
City of Gold could be a metaphor, or it could have once have been true, and their information is just outdated, or it
Right.
could be something
Exactly.
else entirely. You can't really trust what everyone's saying because a lot of
Yep.
Every
stuff is like even if it was true then it suddenly becomes mythos, it becomes more of a religious thing, it doesn't become a history or vice
Hmm.
versa. A lot of the legend gets passed through word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth, and then you're left with something that vaguely looks like what they're describing but isn't exactly that 100%.
Right. Exactly.
every time we see Yashola in one of these things, she's looking at one of like the Mesoamerican looking
Yep.
steles, like she's like going, "Huh, Ronka." Like for all we know, this is gonna be how they solve the shard travel thing. She's gonna walk straight into a normal ass El Dorado, exactly like you picture in your mind. Where you're like, "Oh, there is a city of gold." What do you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I that would be awesome too. Like I think they would do a really good job if they did the actual city of gold. But
Mhm.
it's like they have these like points that make me think it's definitely like a metaphor of some sort. But
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll see what they got planned.
I think I accidentally set up Nemea to like smite me and have it be a metaphorical city of gold, because like I made a joke when we first saw like the Neo Tokyo aesthetic. I just tweeted like, "Wow, I'm surprised this place didn't make the list of Emmett Selk's worthwhile vacation destinations."
Oh,
But
yeah.
like, for all I know, this is the city of gold the whole time.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
That'd be really, really funny, I think.
Mhm.
Laughing at us from beyond the grave.
Right.
Mhm.
He would.
So
No,
You
someone
walk in,
actually
you
made
see
it.
like the little Azem symbol carved into the wall. That
Yeah, somebody made a comic about that too, where they had their character walk into the Arcadian and is just staring at this place, confused, like what? And then Emmett's in the live stream, be like, "Oh, I forgot to turn off the Bitcoin farmer," because he's talking
Yeah.
about the thing, and I was like, "That's funny." Like that's good stuff right there.
When
Yeah.
you
He
were
hid the whole time.
when you were talking about Ultima being representative of the arts, right? I had the image pop
Mhm.
into my head of like someone in Asian robes leading a rave. Like there's just dubstep playing out of the
It's
tower.
important to culture. Dance is
Like the
important.
terrible dancing meme. Yeah.
you got the glyph glowing with the glow sticks.
Oh yeah. You understand me. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
So, talking about the Arcadian, just for people who don't understand what that means, do you guys know what that means? The word itself?
I guessed.
A lot of people are associating it with Arcadia, which is one of the. I
Yep.
think it's a Greek reference to a state of paradise. From
Yep.
like the name means that, and then
In
a lot of people are
in
calling
Greek,
arcade, but
Yeah.
Could be both. They're
in
good at puns.
Right.
in Greek, there's Arcadia, which is supposed to have kind of connections of an idyllic paradise and also a refuge. So like that was the first place my mind went, was somehow Arcadia of some kind. But like usually when you think of Arcadia in terms of a refuge, it's like it's unspoiled nature. It's something that hasn't been touched by technology yet. And when you look at this, you're like, that is that not that. Like that's closer to an arcade than an Arcadia.
Right.
So it's like I guessed. I have no idea.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, they
Yeah.
do love their like double puns where they're using like the English interpretation of a word and combining it with the actual Greek meaning behind it. Because
Those
I know
are
that it wouldn't be the first time that they've done that, because they did Arcadia in Final Fantasy XII as well, which was supposed to be a refuge, but it ended up being, an
Yeah.
empire.
Yeah.
Stuff like that
Yeah.
happens. So they love doing that play on words thing.
Good call.
Yeah.
hmm
So, do you think that this is just going to be a big hologram area where we just go in and have simulated battles?
Yeah.
Done
I
that
mean,
already.
maybe.
They said stage. They said this was going to be the stage for, but I mean that's this is going to be
Right.
the place, right? The stage is whatever, but not actually on a stage where you're fighting other
Why
people.
not?
I mean, maybe I don't know.
Like the logo in the corner with like the horn skulls, it definitely looks like a competition team logo looking thing.
Smash
but, I mean,
tournament. It's a
Yeah.
Smash tournament, but
It's a
for
battle
your
tower.
vibe.
You have to get to the very top, the final stage.
we're gonna
Yeah.
find out that the Asian glyph is actually just one of those horn skulls with like some writing under it. We're gonna be like, ah.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah,
brand.
yeah, yeah.
It's just brand identity. That's what it is. They're-
Yeah, they could have just
the
seen the
logos
glyph
for their
and gone,
teams.
That's cool. We're just gonna make that a logo and put it on a billboard.
Yeah. But I mean, like in that situation, maybe we'll get a re-envision version.
Again.
Finally, well, no, it's time to do it. Yeah, again, because this is purple lightning, right? Makes
mean,
sense. Yeah. Bring Shiva back a billion times. Let's bring Remove back a billion times. We're good. All right. So
Oh,
maybe that's
someone,
what we'll see.
Someone in chat says Ultima is an esports organizer now.
That's a failing industry, man. That's a bad place to be.
Definition of art changes over time.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, I think it will.
That one got me. Sorry.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to do this, and I think there's a lot of stuff that they could add to it that would make it where we're just gonna see whatever the fuck they come up with. Like, it's not gonna be like super story driven. It's gonna be, battling it out with other people on our way to the top and win a title or something like that. I don't know. That could be the raid.
We'll get a
'cause-
twist at the end that breaks our hearts anyway, because that's usually what happens.
Oh yeah, no, some
Yep.
sad. We're like, oh, remember that moment? And then you're just like, oh.
And then the little Nutkin thing will be a part of the story somehow, and then the ultimate will come out in the future, and then the Nutkin will be part of the mechanics off into the side that no one will know unless they paid attention to what the Nutkin did in the trailer, and then they'll be able to decipher the mechanics that are happening within the ultimate. So
See, those are the kind of mechanics I like, so I'll be ready when that happens.
Nice.
yeah, I still don't. They're adding a lot of comical stuff. Do they? I'm trying to think. Do they normally add a lot of comical stuff to trailers when they do expansions? It's usually fairly serious and straightforward.
Yeah,
right?
this is definitely a lot more optimistic toned, I would say, and I think that was intentional because they want to kind of bounce back to more. What was it? The theme of discovery that they said, right? The
Yeah.
joy of exploration, and yeah, guess what? You stopped the world from ending, so now you get to take a break. At least that's on the cover of it all.
Right.
In my experience, tone seems to be king in the trailers.
Mm.
Because I took the Shadowbringers trailer a little too literally. It really looked like we were going to be embracing the actual power of darkness because the light just couldn't touch it.
On that.
And I was like, I had
cool.
so many theories about how that could happen. How could you wield the
A blade of
actual darkness
Yeah.
and still be the warrior of light? And none of it mattered. It was all Heidelin's gift in the end. And I was like, you got me. But like, the comedy seems to be like summer vacation. Like that's what that's what I think it is that he's sticking to that summer vacation vibe, and it's supposed to feel lighthearted after just 2 straight expansions of doom and gloom.
Right.
Yeah, and they also kind of need to do like a power scaling reset because you just saved the universe from obliteration. You can't just be like, okay, what's the next highest stake?
Yeah,
You gotta kind of build it up into that, and that's why I think they're also kind of like explaining a lot about like, oh, there's gonna be interpersonal drama because that's a way to like still keep the stakes emotionally while resetting that power balance so they can build up to whatever it is they have planned 10 years from now in the conclusion of the next arc. So there's got to be like a tonal reset as well.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think Yoshida actually brought that up. Yeah. Yoshida brought that up. He was like, everyone's been talking about that. We went to space, we fought aliens, things like that. It's like, what's next? He made the joke. He's like, we could fight nothingness because that tends to be a big Final Fantasy plot. In various Final Fantasies, you're literally just fighting the void itself. But
every time Yoshida jokes like that, like I'm going back to like our very early interviews at like E3 and stuff. He'd be like, oh, maybe we'll go to the moon. Yeah, I don't know. Like he tends to do it eventually. So like, and just mark my words, Endwalker 2 is going to be like, we finally build all the way back up to that maximum crazy cosmic power scale again. It's going to be like Ultima the High Seraph Prime and the nothingness. And
why I'm there. Yeah, I'm right there. I'm going to need like a week of PTO, 2 days to finish the game, and the rest is to stare at the wall and process.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Okay. What else we got here, guys? What else do we want to hyperanalyze and give incorrect solutions to?
I've got one last Final Fantasy IX tie-in that I think is relatively important.
What
the actual name of Solution 9 is the name of like an ability that Zidane uses. I don't think the specifics of it are super relevant. But how it actually works is it involves Terran script, which is the universe that isn't ours. And that so it wouldn't be like of Gaia, it's of a different place. It's of the thing that they are eventually fighting, which is something I've just kind of been keeping in the back of my head, that Solution 9 in the context of Final Fantasy 9 isn't exactly of this Earth, which also it's
Lavos.
Okay. It's part of why I think that it's something interplanar, not necessarily to a dangerous scale, but at least in nature or having that kind of connotation. That's the thing that's like percolating in my mind about it at the very least.
I again, like, I'm so focused on just archiving and interpretation and not speculating at this point that like that's where I'm at right now, is like there's something 9-ish. It just like the fact that they put the 9 in Roman numerals on the signs in the place. It feels like it's like they named it after the 9 attack. It's got the Roman numerals as if it's referencing the game. I feel like it's going to be so
Right.
much more thematically 9 heavy than even we expect, but it's also going to be something that's new and fits in here, so I hesitate to let my mind like run too far away with me. And I'm with you that like I feel like it's going to tie into that Rent in the Sea because it's just so obvious. It's like it's glowing in the artwork. They've got like a continental divide, but also there's a shared history between them that we don't fully understand yet, and I don't know how it's going to come all together, but I do feel like the 9 stuff's going to be like key.
And it wouldn't be the first time that they've used symbology from Final Fantasy IX in that way. Hades' boss fight is a great example because there's the like masks of the ancients in the wings and the phase transitions. That symbology is pretty heavy in 9 where they're talking about lost civilizations. What's the thing in Endwalker that I'm forgetting about that they also borrowed from? It was on the tip of my tongue and it's gone now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
But they've borrowed like it's Pandemonium. Pandemonium is a thing that happens in 9, and the raid series, while entirely original, it also talks a little bit about like soul corruption ended up being a big theme there. So Pandemonium in Endwalker, the raid series, it's more Paradise Lost-esque. And they reference that actual like epic more than they do Final Fantasy IX, but they borrow from the symbology of it to kind of get the vibe, the tone of the story across. So I feel like direct parallels, probably not, but as far as tone and the general like undercurrent of the story, we'll be seeing some of that at the very least. That's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, looking at the other thing, you could tell there's the divides there, and then there's a clear color difference between these the north and the south. Like the life is maybe being sucked out of the north or whatever, or, like stuff's happening there that's kind of making it more dead.
Desert conditions,
But
I was so ready to accept that it was like a natural phenomenon that had made Fantasy Arizona, but like this is gonna be the dumbest thing I've ever said. Okay, just bear with me.
Okay.
If you look at the map, like before, they've been very careful to kind of leave all the deserts in the 30-degree latitude belt, and now we've got like this desert in a place where you wouldn't expect. Like the whole continent's kind of off shifted, and part of me is like, it's meaningless. It's fantasy. Who cares? Roll with it. Stop it. But if it wasn't a natural phenomenon, there you go. We still got good geography.
Yeah. No, they have kept their deserts in a general like. It makes it look like a globe, and it's not just a random dead, dry place that just decided to make up.
Yeah.
But
you know, they are hiding like a good bit of the north part, aren't they?
The south.
And the south, yeah.
Yeah,
But
if you look at the south, there's like a whole peninsula that we're not seeing down there.
Yeah.
Yet another expansion where we avoid seeing where the moose live.
Oh no.
Maybe that's the third area. It's not in between the two locations. It's like, all right, and now we're going to go north of Solution 9.
Yep.
Oh man. I'm glad you put together these slides. These are awesome. Because this is more than I remember being even shown. But then again, I was so awestruck. I mean, it's probably just blew past me when it was happening.
You gotta browse their press site more.
Well, I did.
Assets off their press site.
I went to the press site immediately, but it took them a day or two to put it on there, and I forgot
it does
about
take them a little bit to upload. Yeah, because I think they have everything from Tokyo up now. Uploaded onto the press site. So
there's some stuff I need to pull from there, but yeah,
it's very nice for graphics, by the way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Hey Moose, you made some connections that I didn't in the order that you put the slides in, of like seeing where the different locations are roughly relative, so you could kind of get a better picture of the actual aesthetic of the city as a whole. That was really fun to see because I super hadn't thought about it in that context at all. It was like,
here's hoping I didn't just make it all up.
Pretty. It's fine. Either way, we got some visuals, but I liked getting a little bit. It gave more scale to what we were seeing because we're obviously not seeing the people on the streets, which
not
when we're in game, right? So
yeah, looking at some of these slides of the city, this could fit the population of the world in these buildings.
Oh yeah,
there is so many buildings and so many just windows here that like. you know, you could technically probably condense the entire population down into this one. What if that's what they're trying to do?
There you go.
It's not something that landed. It's something that's gonna take off.
Guys, we're not
Oh.
doing the moon again. The moon
It's
2.
Moon 2. Moon 2.
No,
Moon 2.
the moon 2.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm
We're
down
right
for
back
it.
to Ancient Aliens. Is such a
Yeah.
thing even possible? Bitch, it might be.
I forgot moon 2 already.
Oh, and you know what? They're like, hey, look, guys, we gotta travel, but the bodies overall it might be a lot of space. Let's put them in these little capsules, these soul containers, and then drag them over to this new place, and then release them into their new bodies.
Welcome back to Final Fantasy IX.
Maybe that's how it works. You drain just enough of your soul to survive, right? So you're just thin enough that you wouldn't disperse, and then later you
Right.
gotta drink it all back down.
Yeah. Okay, I'm down for it. What's really, you know, again, looking at some of this stuff in the city and the crazy Blade Runner stuff, the billboards and everything, they obviously have a few people that they are popular figures. They have some influencers probably within this city, and people that are
Oh, no.
followed and models and stuff like that. You know, it's probably going to be, what if we have to help someone get better,
Get more subscribers.
get more subscribers, help. Maybe these are the people who are paid. Okay, now I got it, guys. We get Pictomancer going, right? And there's so many artists out there that are doing stuff, and these influencers are like, hey, I need you to make this for me. I'll pay you an exposure. And then that's when the war starts.
The Arcadian is just the world race, and we've got to help Frosty get his play button.
Yeah, I'm like
That's it.
picturing a massive like billboard that has a Moogle on there with like illegible text that everyone's just gonna call. That's Frosty Bog Boy.
Yeah.
I'll put it next to Arcadian. That would be perfect.
I swear, I'm going to be honest with you just real quick again. This slide on 23 with a little Chocobo on there, and there's little arrows going in there. That better be a new Chocobo racing thing. It has to be.
A new lane.
It's been a decade. We haven't had any new tracks or anything. Let's do it. Let's just freaking get it over with, guys.
That's so funny.
I would love to race a Chocobo around those streets they got in
Yeah.
Solution
Yeah, it
9.
would be, yeah.
I'm pretty sure those claws aren't meant to like handle the roads the same way as they do in the dirt and stuff. But maybe you get some like rubber feety things on there.
Choose the Chocobo.
Yeah. And then it gets good grips, and then you could race.
That's amazing.
I'm sorry, guys.
Ultima
No,
could
you're
design
good.
that, no problem.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Advocate of the arts. That's aesthetic, right?
All right. Moose, is there anything? I'm gonna go around a little bit for you guys. Moose, is there anything that you want to talk about in Solution 9 that we haven't mentioned yet? That's been in your head.
Nope, everything I wanted to point out was in the slides. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay. All right.
Heck yeah.
Crow.
We did mention it earlier, and I don't think we have to go back, but just for if anyone wants to see for visuals, right? This is what they're talking about with the proto alphabet, right? The crazy part is, like, we had zero indication this was going to be relevant at all. It was just like fun facts. Like, at least that's the way I read it. Was, oh, that's cool. If you look here, just to kind of reference it, right? I think that's Varantic, that's Eorzean. This is what people are using to translate Solution 9 signs. And it's like, you're sitting there like, oh, this was just a really cool linguistic, thing. And then all of a sudden, wait, this actually is used for current stuff. And then, so that if you're wondering where everyone's getting the names from, it's from this page.
There appears to be one small bug in that.
Oh, and that's where the bug is at?
Yeah.
If it makes
In my defense, that's a visual asset. I did not have access to visual assets. If you look at the lowercase frantic, it looks like it's possible that only the top row and the left column are actually replaced from Eorzean into Vaunted.
Oh,
Oh, no.
yeah, it's the same letters on accident.
Yeah, it looks possible that maybe a old incomplete version somehow snuck in there. I don't know. But
If it
yeah,
makes
beware.
if it makes you feel
We
any
may-
better, this is like my one shortcoming because I can't read the script at all. Like I look at it and I'm like, oh, that says something, and then I have to like look it up later because my eyes just glaze over. I can't read it.
Me
So I'm
either.
glad other
Reason I
people pointed
can.
out.
Yeah.
The only reason I can read it is because two things happened in 1.0. One, they let you change the in-game font. They let you upload whatever font you wanted and have
okay.
nothing display in that font. And then someone made the Eorzean font. And I was like, yeah, immersion, baby. And I switched my system font over to the Eorzean font. And I spent 2 weeks like, what? So now the only reason I can read it is because I refused to change it back out of stubbornness, and now I can actually read it.
Is
my
that
God.
still your game
so
today?
You're telling me your entire computer system is in Eorzean font? Like,
No, it was
Oh.
just the Final Fantasy 14 client, and it was just for a little while of 1.0 when they allowed us to
man.
do that.
that's intense.
I probably would have done the same, but I super did not play it 1.0. I never got that opportunity.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. I skipped that
Sorry.
one too,
Sorry, gang.
fortunately.
So yeah, we may need to make our own chart. We'll get the right letters in there,
Okay.
fix it
okay.
up.
That's funny. I'm surprised I found the bug so quickly, but hey.
So did you with the did we want to dive into the pyramid part a little bit more? Because I know we were talking a little bit about pyramids and triangles and everything. I don't know if we went too deep into it outside of, hey, there's an image of there's a pyramid here and then there's triangles. Is there anything more to it than that?
There's an association that
Yeah.
Moose is probably more qualified to explain. It's not a theory, more just a fun thing to point out.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
The pyramid. You want to
Like
talk about Mog so much.
The Mahahi?
Yeah.
Mahi? Okay, so yeah, if we're still maybe half serious, half joking. We have no idea what's going to turn out to be true, but let's say purple pyramids matter. Let's say. The last time we saw a big purple pyramid was in the Weeping City on the way to Ozma. So it would not be out of character for something Mahahi related to have a pyramid and for that pyramid to be purple. But yeah, we're seeing shapes in the clouds right now. We see a little bit of Alog, we see a little bit of Mahach, we see a little bit of Nine, we see a little bit of Ronco, we see a little bit of everything, and we just wonder like which parts can we move in and out until the most makes the most sense. And then SE reveals one new thing and it all falls apart.
Little pieces of civilizations over the calamities all kind of show up here, is what you're saying, right? Because maybe all these calamities are happening, and they're like the overhead of everything, and they're saying, "Oh, calamities coming! Hey, let's get some scholars out there, pull them into the city." Just see what they could throw into it, and they just selectively saved some people to add to their society.
You're supposed to be helping us narrow down theories, Frosty. They're multiplying.
Okay.
Frosty's like everything is true. It's fine.
Okay. All right. Very good. Just want to make sure I put that 2-second thought that popped into my head out there in front of you guys.
I mean, it's a good. I like that idea. I would, if you're creating a sort of like arc system, but this arc is grabbing from 10,000 years of people, it definitely would show some sort of like a little bit of everybody's design, like all the stuff that they grew up with, their cultures and stuff, brought it into this like collective experience. Or
Yeah,
like, what's the word they use? That word they used that I had to do research on, pluralistic. They were talking about that with Tuli Alal. Well, so I had to look that up, and so it's a political theory of multiple societies coexisting with each other, and they all like kind of like help each other out. And I was like, huh, that's really cool. So that could be a part of that, like learning what the concept of pluralism in a society perspective. It's like when you have a bunch of different groups working together, and they have their own leaders and everything, but they also help each other out. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what that works, how
Yeah.
that plays out.
Because we've also been running off of the assumption that Solution 9 is this like secret hidden civilization. It could
Yeah.
just be something like just spitting out of my ass here. It could just be something where it's like, oh yeah, and now we're going here, and everyone just knows about it, and it's never come up in conversation whatsoever. But going on like the way that we have been talking about, where it is some sort of secret civilization, they're not letting
Right.
people look in. Nothing is stopping them from still looking out at the rest of the world and saying, "Oh,
Mhm.
this is a really cool thing that we like. They're making really cool developments here that we didn't think about." They don't necessarily preclude each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The last time I was on MogTalk, I was like, well, there's clearly like one like ancient purple civilization that we haven't seen yet, and there's just like ruins of this ancient purple empire everywhere. And then we get to the new trailer, and it's not ancient at all. It's not really ancient at all. It's just like Neo Tokyo. So it's like
Yeah.
one new piece of information, and it all comes down. Like we're gonna, like we start the game, and they're gonna be like, hey, you see that thing over there? That just showed up like 2 weeks ago. Weird, right?
Right.
Like.
Yeah, and it's to Crow's point earlier too. It can be ancient and still be modern at the same time if it's like
Right.
survived all the calamities or come from somewhere else. They're not mutually exclusive, especially in the context of being an advanced civilization in a Final Fantasy game, because they can do
Right.
whatever they want with that.
Yeah. I remember when we had a Final Fantasy 15's car in the game, and everybody's like, "Oh, that feels so dumb. Why would we have a car?" in the game?"
Oh, I remember the car days. Yeah,
Yeah.
the car argument.
It doesn't seem so bad now. But yeah, no, this is great stuff. I want to open up the floor to the chat a little bit while we talk a little bit more here, but give the floor, I'm going to say, hey guys, in chat, Twitch chat right now, if you have questions, ask them. If you have thoughts that you think that would be interesting to talk about, ask them, and then I'm going to let Crow and M, and well, M might not be looking at, that's okay, Crow and
Shut
M
up now.
and Moose, to kind of look at it and be like, hey, we're going to talk about this for a second. So throw that out there, and we'll see what we can come up with here we've been almost at this for 2 hours, which is great. This has been a ton of fun to talk about and kind of explore this is just the one new bit that they added to the new zones and everything else. There's still more information with the trailers and everything else that we could go over, but we're focusing
Seriously,
on this.
Thank you guys for your bravery in terms of like throwing all sorts of weird crap out there, because I am so reserved. People are like, what is it? And I'm like, new.
It's already my Twitter reputation when it comes to Final Fantasy, and some of them have actually turned out to be correct. So now I'm just throwing whatever I have to the wind, and just to see what sticks. Because I did that with the 12, and I'll see what happens with this. Because
more of my jokes come true than my predictions.
It's that dodgeball of Apollo. It smacks you on the head every once in a while.
Yeah,
gift
prophecy.
Yep. Happens to all of us.
It really does.
All right.
So let's see.
But yeah. The one other thing I guess I wanted to figure out about this too is what was it? I saw it in one of these slides here. I'm gonna be honest with you, the elevator thing did kind of get me a little bit.
Really? That was what got you?
I remember the Endwalker trailer with the elevator. I'm like, maybe there's a relation there, right? Maybe it is one of those towers that go up all the way, and they're like, hey, you need to go to the top. I don't know. That wasn't what I was thinking about for a second. Oh, wait a minute. Is this a trash? Hold on. Is this a trash can that's here on the bottom left? What slide are
you on?
I'm on slide. Sorry, I'm on slide 20. Or is that like a little mini aetherite? That's probably mini aetherite. Sorry, it looked like a trash can for me for a second.
I think there are trash cans in the park.
The park area.
I don't have it up. I'm not remembering it clearly, but there are all sorts of things.
Oh my god!
And that's one of the things that like really moved me away from the ancients at first. Like strictly somehow there were ancients was like there's just so much in the city that doesn't look like anybody who had creation magics would have. So it looks.
They wouldn't have.
It looks like at least Right. At the very least, the closest we can get is people who, after the Sundering, were like, "Oh, I kind of remember who I am. Let's go build a city." Like,
It's the ancient storyline is kind of done, and I want it to stay that way because stories that end
Me
are
too.
always better. But
Right.
and the context of Ultima, right? It's fun to see like the footprints of what was left behind, because that's a lot of what we've been getting in the patch content, which always kind of builds to the next expansion in that way. So it's fun to see like us sundered beings take the reins and just make some really, really cool shit with the capabilities that we have now. And sometimes that just ends up being a cyberpunk paradise.
So you think this is unsundered, then, Em?
No,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
I don't think it is, and that's also wishful thinking. I also don't want it to be.
Right.
I don't know, but
Okay.
I wouldn't want it to be, because I think that chapter should stay closed at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask here. Sorry, the secret one where it has the big secret thing here, and there's a little bit of purple there. How the is it not just that purple tower dome thing back there? Like, it looks like if you go to the map, you have like this whole area that's like all desert-like area. Then, oh look, there's more desert-like area. Well, what's close to the desert-like area? Well, the big purple ball's right next to the close desert area.
it could be.
And then look,
I just wanna be
there's
arrogant.
jolting things coming out of the ground. Let's look at the map. There's jolting things around the big purple area. Like,
Well, but it's like
If I said it was,
yeah.
if I said it was, it would not be. So I'm gonna say it could be. And
Okay.
if it is, great.
Yeah.
And if it's not, good. I covered my ass.
And then there's just more purple things out there for us to ponder mysteriously.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's just a giant source of the corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big crystal.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, it looks way too obvious, and for them to hide that, it seems weird to me. But maybe I'm just wrong, and they're really good at throwing curveballs. I don't know.
That's funny.
Okay. Did you guys catch anything in chat that you want to go over?
There was a couple of people. Let's see. We had someone asking any theories on the trailer art, or the expansion art. There's 2 new characters we don't have names for. There's a blue-haired Makote, and there's a lady on the very top piece. They're like, "What's our theories on those characters?"
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I actually put a picture, like a giant. All right, so I have a list of things that if they didn't come up otherwise, to at least mention them, because I'm not the best person to mention them. But if they didn't come up, I was going to. I was laughing really hard because one of them is FFXIV Wakanda, and you actually managed to say that. The very last thing on my list is just a screenshot of the girl that's zoomed all the way in, going, is this Tuliolal aesthetic or is this Solution 9 aesthetic? Like, which do I think it is? Does it look more high-tech or low-tech? And I really have no idea. Like, the stuff on the shoulders looks like it could be glowing. The stuff on the neck looks like it could be glowing, but it might also just be, like, pretty and reflective. Solution 9 looks like it has a lot of the environment is black and purple, but it looks like anything that's meant to complement and accentuate it is white. And so she's dressed in white, and it makes me think there's a non-zero chance she could be related to whatever's over there, but my brain wants to say probably not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, man.
It's the Makote I feel like I've seen before. You know that like really intense sense of deja vu, but like you know that it hasn't happened, but like you feel it anyway. That's kind of the experience I'm getting with the Makote. So I have been kind of like going around the world, and I'm like, okay, is this a named NPC we interacted with for exactly 5 seconds at one point in time that's just lodged itself into my brain, or is this just an entirely new character altogether? Because the gear that they're wearing looks more like it would be something that came from Eorzea versus what we've seen of all of the new places that we're going to visit. But I haven't put anything solid together on that front yet. I have no idea about the girl though. I'm lost on that one, I'll be honest.
All right. I did see someone say potential was the Arcanist Guildmaster meeting finally. I'm like, huh. That would be funny. They just randomly pull him out of nowhere. It's like, I was wandering the world this entire time. Guess where I've been? It's like,
It wouldn't be the
what?
first time.
Wait, yeah, okay. But
Those. Oh, are you?
no,
Let me know when
you're
we're ready to go to the next one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so there's one question like, do we think Solution 9 and aspects that touches on it are like the level 83 of Dawntrail?
Yeah.
My suspicion is that this is just me. I want everybody to disagree with me, but like, my suspicion is that the contest for the throne is our level 83. And that it's going to get so out of control by then that it's going to be kind of halfway a different story. I think we're going to start in Tuliolal and we're going to go south. We're going to go Urkopacha. We're going to go into the like crater place. I don't have all of the names in front of me and I don't want to guess them wrong. Yaktael and Urkopacha and what?
I mean, you're kind of wrong, but I mean, it's fine. Like, so what's going to happen? We're gonna go. We're gonna go to it, right? And we're gonna start it, and we're like, there is no solution here. Oh, we hear whispers of Solution 9 stuff. Then we gotta go do Solution 9 stuff, and the connection's gonna be the Annihilators, this gold, blue, purple thing, and then we have to do a dungeon where we kill the Annihilator, which is kind of similar to the level 83 dungeon with the threat that we had from Endwalker, which was, I think that big threat they announced there, again, dungeon boss, early on, right, done and over. Same thing with Annihilator. Then we go Solution 9 for a little bit, then we're like, hey, let's go back and finish this political stuff. We go back, finish the political stuff, then we go back to Solution 9 for a little bit, be like, hey man, what's really going on over here? Then we're on Mars after that. That's probably where we're going.
I think it would actually be pretty cool if we went to like Heritage Found and then left and then came back later. But yeah, no, my initial thought was like you go down to Yaktael and Urkopacha and all the stuff that's in the south, and then later you cross the bridge and go up, and it feels like a kind of a two-part story that's not a two-part story. Like it's halfway between Heaven's Word and Stormblood, but we've still got kind of like a half of each zone. But that's I have no idea what to expect. I have been wrong on this for 2 straight expansions, and I'm prepared to keep going.
I will say, at the very least, Solution 9 is going to be a very persistent thing that we deal with throughout the expansion, at least at the point of having to do the raid series for the entire expansion inside of Solution 9. So nothing bad's going to happen. Too bad.
Was it Solution 9 that they mentioned was going to be a hub city, or was that Heritage Found?
I believe it was Solution 9.
Yeah,
because it's got like the little Ethernet shards in it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, because that's also like part of why I'm like, we're seeing these screenshots and the streets are empty, but if it's a hub city, then it won't be for long at the very least.
It won't be empty. No, he said they removed everything from it so that we wouldn't get too many hints.
People and
which means that like we're gonna walk in and see all the ADS nodes like, damn it,
it's Alan again.
ADS nodes are just going to be like everyone in big, tall, dark like robes or whatever walking around. We're like, wow, these guys are tall and they got. This is kind of weird, you know, and that's why they removed them, because they're like, yeah, we're doing it again.
So a quick shout out to the chat. There's been a couple people shouting out the term Shades Triangle, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I've been looking at the map really closely. It's on the map. Apparently there's a place that used to be, or it's the Final Fantasy equivalent of the Bermuda Triangle. And I was like, I didn't even know they named it already. That's insane.
I saw it on the map, and I just glazed right over it. Like, that's a place.
Where is it?
We'll hear about it, I'm sure.
It's by the tidal Tuliolal, right there. There's a little bunch of shipwreckages.
I still can't read this, so
I can't read this at all, guys. I can't read this at all. Tell me, I'm in the middle of the map. Do I go left or right?
Right. Do you see like the crater in the middle of Brazil?
Yes, that.
Brazil.
Okay.
Go northeast, just above the balloons.
Right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's
All right. That's this is called a triangle here. What? I don't understand.
Triangle.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's like right where the Bermuda Triangle would be, which like I think chat's right. I think that's just a deliberate. Yeah, we should put the Bermuda Triangle in Final Fantasy XIV. They put the face on Mars on the moon. Like, why not?
Yeah, no, the Sidonian Mars.
If they don't, by the way, on these little plateaus here, if they don't put like a little house with balloons on top of it, I'm gonna be real upset, guys. They have to put a reference in there.
It'll be one of the fun side quests you can do after you're like
Was
recovering
it
from.
was it
being
EmUnArum
hit.
that brought up the fact that that crater area is probably a nod to the was it the Yucatan Peninsula and the dinosaur crater?
I would
Or
be surprised if I was the first person who said it out loud, but it was at least an independent discovery that, like, yeah, in the real world there's actually a massive crater there that they think might be the one that wiped out the dinosaurs.
right?
And I was thinking like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if that was that? But
It's a Bonriota that loves his dinosaurs, so I mean, if you're going to be to the place where the dinosaur crater's at, might as well use it.
We walk
But
into the city and there's like dinosaur creatures in the surrounding
yes,
area. We'll know you're on this
oh,
side.
dude, oh, I'd be so happy. I'd
Yeah.
be all over that. And then that's where we get Beastmaster because you have to learn to talk with the dinosaurs and they teach you. how to,
Okay, all
you
right,
know.
I'm seeing this.
We did see the Godzilla dinosaur-like monster, right? So that
And
makes
these
We've
sense.
connected the
coming
dots.
together. Yeah.
They're
Everything makes
infecting the
Square Enix,
dinosaur.
hire me. Square Enix, please.
Oh. All right. Well, cool. Cool. What else? Did we see anything else in chat that we want to bring up?
Kind of scrolling through.
Sephiroth? No, it's not going to be in there. Don't worry. That's fine. Oh, is this
We've been
maybe one of the
asking if
planets the
Sephiroth-
meteor hit? Maybe like it hit and then it went through and then stopped right there. In that cutscene when Sephiroth's using his final ultimate whatever and it's like blowing up all the planets, the meteor just kind of stops right there at that spot. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Let's see.
I'm loving all the dinosaur jokes though. Please keep those coming.
Yeah, dinosaur jokes are great.
Yeah.
I was very happy to find out Bonriota loves dinosaurs, and that's why there's so many in 14. Because it's like, I mean, you have to ask because there is a lot of dinosaurs in 14. Yeah, just he's a dinosaur enthusiast, so he puts all the dinosaur references that he likes in the game, and I'm like, that's cool. I like that. I respect it.
Yeah.
I
Wait, when
don't
did...
have.
Go ahead.
No, you do. You do.
No, I was
I'm
going to
changing
say,
the
when did
subject.
they tell us about Ellipsis? That was, or Elpis, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
When did they tell us about that? That was a fan fest, right?
They did
They showed us
not-
art. That
yeah,
was
they
it.
showed us art. And
They showed us.
No, go ahead.
Good. You could tell that it was ancient.
'Cause of the
Maybe.
spirals. Yeah.
If you saw the little spirals coming off of things and you were like, oh, those were an Amarat, but that was as close as you were going to get.
Yep.
It's the connection I made when they showed that. This was actually when I started like really loving diving into like the theories and stuff. Was the general art that we got matches the general art that we had for Ozzy's Law at the time. So I was sitting there like, oh, it's an ancient research facility of some kind, and that was exactly where my train of thought stopped. So I walked into Elpis and I cried a little bit for a variety of reasons, but that was pretty much all we got. That was like a surprise zone.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think my theory was on the world map there's a weird little sky city that floats above Garlemald, the capital. And I was like, we're going there, finally. Like it didn't make any sense because like why do they have little sky towers over there? And then we ended up like when they start revealing the possible way to get there and they explain, oh yeah, you got to go to the pass. I was like, all right, yeah, I was completely wrong. Wow, that was like went the complete wrong direction.
Mhm.
But I at least got sky right. That was, I was like,
Well, we
something
had to
in
go
the
to
sky.
Garlemald to get to the moon, so it's
So,
kind of like a city above Garlemald. Yeah.
right.
Well, the only reason I'm asking that is because I'm trying to correlate like this information coming out
Oh,
at the
here
same
we go.
time that they released that information. But this being a hub city means it's, maybe not that far into the story. I don't know if we've gotten any kind of information that gives us that extra little bit what could be that next zone, right? What's going to be one of those secret zones that we don't see, like the 5th or 6th zone or whatever.
Right.
So maybe they'll release a little bit more of that coming up before the actual release.
Anything in
but-
this could be one of the zones that we don't know yet. True.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out one more chat question.
Okay.
It was just what do you think the carousel is? And
Yeah, I saw
don't
that.
know. I'm gonna use process of elimination here. So first off, Tyrol, at least the parts of it that are under the control of Tuliolal, are not industrialized very much. They believe more in being in harmony with nature. So a carousel is something I don't think you would find, especially one that's like lit up in RGB, right? if you pull up like the full-sized asset from the press, you zoom in to the back behind the carousel, you can actually see what look like to be a couple of Ferris wheels on the right.
All
And
right,
then if you go to the
Moose.
left-
Moose, you're talking too much about an
Yeah.
image you don't have in your presentation. You gotta throw this in your Google. Just
Yeah, sure. Hold on. I can actually. I will
25,
send
yeah,
you.
or 26.
Hold on. I will actually. I will send you the.
Wait.
I will send you the picture, and you can bring it up.
Winter
Okay.
in chat called it the Arizona zone, which is really funny considering we called it Arizona earlier too.
They might have
Yeah,
some
it
iced
is
tea
in
there
the
too.
Arizona-
Fortune,
well,
Arizona.
It's
The
the
thing that
Arizona
makes-
zone.
Yeah.
The thing that makes me call it the Arizona zone is like another weird nerd fact is the cactuses that branch off like that and have the arms. Those are only in the Arizona Mexico area. They
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
exist anywhere else, which is always a joke I
Nice.
make about like the cactars and the sabatunders. But did you get the picture?
Yeah. Now I gotta put it because if you would have just put it in this. It's all right. It's all right.
I debated putting it in there, but I already had 25 slides and I didn't want to like take up everybody else's time.
It's okay.
I
It's
like
just gonna take me a
Slides
second.
boost.
This is a shared space.
You're right. You're right. You're right. All right. All right. Look, give me a second. I almost have it ready to show up on the screen. There we go. All right, and then turn that off. Transition over. Boop. All right. There we go. Carousel.
Okay. So, zoom in on the shadow if you can't.
I can do it. I'll figure it out.
If you look at the fog behind the carousel on the right, you can see what appears to be a couple of Ferris wheels.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look in the fog behind the carousel to the left, you can see what might be one of their highways and one of their light poles. So my first guess is solution 9, just because it's so industrialized and appears to have like I can't think of anything, like even the stuff that they're mining for ceruleum and building stuff doesn't seem like it's that far ahead. But for all we know, the zone that we don't know anything about yet is that far ahead, and I'm gonna look like cheese and crackers later because this doesn't look quite solution 9 level.
No,
tech.
this
Like solution 9 looks Neo Tokyo.
yeah.
It's like aesthetically outside of what the rest of the promotional material we've seen. So it could be its own thing, or it could be a part of any of the rest of it as a result of that.
It could be anything. Like it could be the new treasure dungeon for all we know.
Yeah,
Okay,
people
I'm
are saying
for
in
that
chat
idea now.
near. There's a lot of near mentions in chat. So
I mean, it could
I'm
be.
gonna have to.
It could be some
Yeah.
crazy near yo. They're like, hey, guess what? Yo goes back, yo, and then they
goes
just start
back.
throwing all this shit.
This is where they went at the end of the.
'Cause of course.
Alliance Raid.
If you're trying to keep up with the near story, why not just go ahead and throw core canon stuff in a whole nother game that make this very weird relations
Right.
to? And then we throw the carousel in there. Yeah, why not? It's all Oh, and chat also mentioned it's all unicorns. So
Right.
maybe that's something of interest too. Maybe that's the
Oh,
new
yeah,
mount
that's-
that we'll get from
It's funny
Extremes.
because they have that's the weird little world building fact. They have about 14 that horses don't originate in Eorzea. Horses actually come from the Far East. The Ara were the first to domesticate the horse, and then from there the Hingashi and then Doma. So they all ride horses. So when they come to Eorzea and they don't see horses, they freak out because they're like, "What's a chocobo?" Or they actually even call it what's a toriuma because they're like they don't even the concept of chocobo is beyond them in the Far East. And I always thought that was a funny little detail. So by bringing up that it's unicorns, it's pointing out, hey, it's probably not Eorzean because it's more on that end of things because Eorzeans don't have horses.
It's the
They only know
connotation of it, yeah.
chocobos, and the unicorn is a legendary creature, which is was a House for Tom's symbol. They found a unicorn that led them to the Nail, which became Ishgard. That's the whole legend thing. So we have that. We have unicorns, but we don't have horses in Eorzea. So
Okay.
it's the
With my luck, it's just a 24-person mount.
right.
Sorry, I'm just visualizing
whole
it
raid.
spinning as you
Whole
fly
raid.
across the night sky.
Oh no.
That would be so good. That would be so good. then again, like Luigi was talking about, maybe it's an amusement park. It's within the Arcadian. Maybe it's a boss you got to fight.
Right.
Like Ramu was one of the first bosses in the tier, and then you got him as a mount later. The Carousel's the first boss you get as a mount later. It all kind of adds up a little bit. Yeah.
The visual just gets funnier and funnier the more you think about it.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Put in 24 people on. Yeah.
Hey guys, let's hit on a mount right off to the Alliance raid. Going to Ivalice, everyone, or not Ivalice, Final Fantasy 11. Sorry, Final Fantasy 11. We're riding all for fucking.
Just imagine rolling up to the Shadow Lord and you're spinning carousel.
To be fair, that is
circle like our rainbow circle.
That is vaguely what playing Final Fantasy 11 in the modern day feels like. I'll be honest, it's a carousel, and at some points you get off, and then the rest you're just continuing to spin the whole way around.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that we wanted to go over, Solution 9 related or anything, before we wrap up the show? We've done pretty good today, I think.
I feel like we've covered pretty much all we've gotten on
everything but the right answer we have covered.
Yeah, because I mean, we have no answer. These are all.
I am gonna,
visuals.
after I'm done with Dawntrail and things calm down, I am gonna pull this back up and I am gonna watch this, and I am going to make clips and whole video just based around the rights and wrongs of everything we said.
A prize for being the most wrong about everything.
Yeah. Never coming on again. Yes.
Aw, damn.
No. All right. Well, then that's good. I appreciate. This was a really fun show. I'm glad we did it.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Blast.
Yeah. I think we need to do a lot more of these shows coming up. There's a lot to talk about. Hopefully, we'll have some more lore shows happening in the future. With there's a lot more than just Solution Night to talk about yet again. I would probably need to have an 11 talk at some point because I don't know how to have an 11 talk. But maybe that needs to happen in the future, and then some various other things. But no, you guys have been a blast to have on the show. Before we do wrap this up, though, I do want to give everybody a moment here to say whatever you want to say, last few words of everything, shout outs, where people can find you, or anything else like that. So we'll start same rotation here. Moose, tell everybody everything.
Jeez, all of my handles are different. Like if you go to Twitter, it's at Anonymoose XIV. If you go to Twitch, it's Onwyll, ANWYLL. I usually only stream new content, usually a little while after it comes out. I've been in the process of getting my computer fixed, the cooling tanked. So I gotta fix that. That sucked. But Blue Sky, Mucifer Loring Star. I think that's everything. I think it's everything for now. In the meantime, just shout out to you guys for being such good company and making this so fun.
Yeah, this is great. And yeah, of course, follow Moose over on ANWYLL, where he was last playing Paranorma Site, The Seven Mysteries of Hanjo.
I can't wait to finish that game. Yeah, the computer broke when I was just starting that game, and I cannot wait to finish it.
Nice. I haven't even heard of it. Oh gosh. All right. Bro, you want to go next?
Yeah. Just generally excited for everything. Because I like the cyberpunk aesthetic. I don't actually get any like cyberpunk vibes in the sense of dystopia just yet. There may be that, like I mentioned, the corruption problem, but it may be more of a Wakanda vibe where they just have been thriving all these years and they were just now meeting them for the first time. So here's just finding out how much we got and how much we weren't. Like all the red herrings. I want to see how far we got led astray, and then when they finally show it to us, it's gonna be really cool. On my channel and and all the stuff I do, you can find me at the Essalin Collate, ESSALIM. And that's usually the same handle for pretty much everything. So you can just type that in and you should be able to find it where you prefer. I do a lot of stuff, variety streamer, but my main focus is, of course, lore and narrative of video games. So that's why, Destiny 2 has a really cool story that I will rant about for a couple hours. And then when we're playing 14, I'll rant about that story. And then I've been ranting about Final Fantasy 16 story. I'm working on that right now. I'm almost done. I've actually, because I got into this bad habit. This is Koji. I'm going to blame Koji. I'm like Koji Fox on this one. I've been reading his world building stuff on stream, like all the like nation talk that he brings up, and it's definitely made those make it. It's been taking me forever to beat the game because of that. Because you have to talk to everybody to get all those little bits, and they're super cool, but it takes so much time.
Yeah.
But yes, if you ever do find me on the internet, it's probably lore related, narrative related. I do writing stuff as well, commissions and things like that. All sorts of stuff related to narrative design. I'm really into that. And then, so yeah, just excited to be on another adventure with everyone leading was it this summer we're all gonna be heading to a new continent. So let's check that out together. It's gonna be awesome.
All right,
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, I got two things real quick. No punk, but if you go back and you look at the slide, you see a triple demon head thing on a thing that looks kind of punky to me. I mean, there's a little bit of punk in there. I mean, it's not everywhere, but it's there.
There are people who think cyberpunk means it looks like Neo Tokyo, and they won't get mad at you if you say cyberpunk. But there are people who think cyberpunk is explicitly like the genre of, dystopian and the exploration of
that's what I'm like. I don't want to say dystopia, but
okay.
The people who are like into that definition may get upset if you. So I've swapped over entirely to Neo Tokyo.
Okay.
Neo Tokyo, yeah.
Fair.
The setting in many cyberpunk things, but without the cyberpunk.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, could you quickly explain your hat to everybody that you've been wearing?
Yes.
Because you said it was something that is part of you. So.
Yeah, this is a branding identity, But basically, if you have known me in the past, I was at FanFest 2018, and Koji Fox and Matt, they were doing a panel. It was a Between Two Ferns panel. And so what had happened was he was explaining to the audience that he needed a little help because he created this legendary fish. Because legendary fish is this whole content chain. I mean, there are actual people that are dedicated entirely to it. It's really interesting. You should check it out. Fishing is fun, by the way. But they have legendary fish. You can get these like really, really rare fish after a certain time and putting some work into it. And he had already made the mistake of creating the Leopleurodon as the apex predator of the Ruby Sea. And so he's like, all right, so I need you all to give me suggestions on how to make this apex predator worse than an apex predator, like something that surpasses evolution itself. And then, he's explaining, he's like, I wrote myself into a corner, so I need suggestions. And I just, I raised my hand up, and he picks me first, and he's like, all right, you go first. And I freeze. I mean, of course, because I didn't expect to be picked first. And the first thing I say is spikes, right? And I just kept saying that word over and over again. And so if you read the fish lore of that specific fish, it says it has spikes on spikes. Like that's a part of the thing. So the clip of that on Twitch, by the way, someone actually clipped it on Twitch for me. I'm wearing this hat there in the audience going like, I want spikes on spikes with the, and it's just this really iconic moment where I'm just like, adding lore to the game. It's the first time I get to add lore to the game, and it's completely absurd. So it's just like, yeah, let's go. But
that's fair. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
now, now it makes sense. Okay. Now it's all. I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Name of legend.
All right, you want to round us off here?
Yeah, sure. I had a lot of fun talking with you guys today. I don't really get a chance to talk about lore in depth a lot. Usually it's me ranting and my static mates and my FC mates going, okay, all right, and I don't, it's fun to get to engage like this because y'all presented a lot of theories and things that I didn't notice. So I'm definitely going to be like keeping that in mind while we're going into the next expansion. But beyond lore stuff, y'all should check out all the MogTalk rating because we're doing a lot of fun stuff with that. I am EmUnArum on all social media platforms. I don't really stream that much, so I don't know if plugging my Twitch is super helpful, but I do tweet a lot about lore stuff. And I am a cosplayer with a lot of Final Fantasy cosplays. I've cosplayed every Ascian, and my goal currently is to work through every ultimate fight in the game. I'm getting started on that here in a bit, as well as a whole bunch of other Final Fantasy games, including 9 here at the end of the year. I'll be starting mine from that one.
I'm going to have to play 9 before the game comes out, aren't I?
You really are. Or you could join me in 11 if you want.
I don't know about that one. That was rough. But maybe we'll see. I have a lot of goals in Final Fantasy 14 still that I have to accomplish. But yeah, no, it's been a blast. I'm glad I brought you on. I know this isn't normally what you do, but I loved bringing you on. And it's easy to pick you up like, oh yeah, M's gonna do well on a lore show. I don't gotta worry about this.
I appreciate the invite. I was nervous I wasn't gonna be able to keep up, but I feel like I have. So
great.
You did a great job. Yeah.
I've had
More
so
than-
much fun.
Yeah. All
Moose is the big one for this one, but the campfire philosophy. You know,
Yes.
everyone is able to contribute something to the lore conversation. I've always been a huge appreciator of just being open to everybody's, ideas and things like that. So you did a great job. Trust me. You
Appreciate
did.
it.
My big
Yeah.
my big thing is like it doesn't matter really how much you know or whether the speculation is accurate. It's all about, is the conversation fun?
Yep.
And that's really what it comes down to, because even if you feel like you don't know if you're keeping up, you're bringing a perspective that is all your own. No one else has that perspective. No one else has that excitement. No one else has that particular brand of putting the puzzle together.
Yeah.
And as long as the company is good, nothing else matters.
It's like Crow said,
That's-
everyone like
that's the campfire
specializes in
thing.
different
That's the
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the collaborative effort, and that's when you get really cool stuff. So I had fun
Yeah.
with you guys.
yeah, MogTalk's the campfire. That's all it is.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. And that's why I made this show, because it's fun to bring people on and discuss things. As long as people want to talk and they enjoy themselves, then something's going right. That's all that really matters. And I appreciate everybody coming to watch and everything. And we're trying to get these lore shows in here. Even though I'm not the best at lore, it is fun to be in this environment. I love this kind of environment, and it keeps me a little bit more educated than I have the right to. I deserve to be, I guess. the right to be, right? So, all right. Well, with that all being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. I am going to host somebody here in just a second. We'll just do a raid over to somebody. There won't be a credits rollout. We'll just go back to the starting screen for just a moment. At least YouTube will have a credits rollout, but whatever. It's fine. Technicalities. Then the other thing is that I will be streaming again possibly Sunday night. I don't know yet because it's kind of a goofy day. Well, I guess we're going to find out what's going on. But at the very worst case scenario, we will be back on Tuesday on this channel at 9 or 8 a.m. Pacific to start the new patch. Right? So we have new story quests. Maybe we got to do another new story show next week. Oh, gosh. All right. We have a lot of really cool shows coming up, hopefully, in the future. I know we were kind of slow in the holidays, but there's a lot of stuff coming down the line that we expect, so... Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful time. Thank you all for being here. And all of you guys have to wave and say bye now. Say bye. See ya.
Bye now.
Well.